Hello everybody, and here we are for another live show. Everything looks fine, and we will do this in order for me to see everything, including number of viewers. Hello everyone, hope everybody is fine. I'm sure better than I was earlier this week. I kind of ate some bad food that made me sick. And so 2 weeks in a row that I was rather bad. But now, pretty good today. Still a little bit of that flu of last week, lingering on, but pretty good. So hey everybody, welcome aboard. Nice to have all of you. This is the Shortwave show. We are Friday, and I'm totally off with my days. I thought, oh, this is a Saturday show. I was like, this is not Saturday, it's Friday. So I'm kind of all a little messed up here, but hey, it's nice to have everybody on board. So this is the Shortwave Radio Show. We are Friday, February 9th. We are here every Fridays, 2000 hours UTC. New setup. I'm going to explain the setup a little more in a few seconds. And we are here to talk about radio, shortwave radio, except the last Friday of each month, where usually we will have the UHF show. And of course, it's a great place. There's a nice chat room. I still monitor the IRC chat, where, for example, SG2 East Nebraska is with a RSP12 GQRX in Walbrook, 15 Fahrenheit and cloudy. So snow coming tonight. We're gonna have snow on this weekend. We're gonna have like close to a foot of snow, I believe, this weekend. We're gonna have we've been having a lot of snow lately, and we're gonna have more. So pretty cool to see everybody here. And of course, we will talk about radio. We're going to talk about some of the weird signals that we hear on the bands, if we can, maybe explain some that are actually mysterious and always mysterious. So I hope you enjoyed today's show, but I don't have really nothing much prepared. We're going to tune the bands. Propagation has been quite good in the past few days, thanks to a little sunspot that's been crackling with C flares and maybe a B flare. It's actually rose the solar flux a little bit. Kind of helps the propagation, and so hope everybody will enjoy the show. Hello there in the chat room, Radioactive. Nice to have you here. Yes, the mysterious and encrypted sometimes, very often actually. To Holland, nice to have you on board. Bobby Burgess, hello there. Nicolas Hughes, happy to see that you got a brand new Dijon D1103, which is an amazing radio with the DE31 antenna. So I hope you're having fun with that. MDK2, hello there, says 6 seconds delay only. Pretty cool. William Helms, hey there, man, from Florida. 2 hands of the radio. Nice to have you here. Richard Cooks receiving Voice of Vietnam on 9730. JB, hello there in N9IIF. Douglas Perry, hello there. Nice to have you on board. Calvin, 29. Nice to have you here. PLF Radio from France, hello there. Jerry DX, hello my friend. Juan Amigo, hello there from Barcelona. So what do we have? Am I missing out on anyone? Say hi please if I haven't said hi. Hello there, my friend that I don't know how to pronounce your name. If you can give me a little something. It seems to be written in Arabic or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. I don't actually read it well. Hello, hello, hello. If I miss out on anyone, please say hi. Please say hi. Nicholas to you says, yeah, I heard about the new solar activity. Sounds good. Yeah, you know, while it lasts, because we are in the bottom of the solar cycle, so we're getting there. So, you know, usually when we have these little peaks of solar activity, they last for a couple of days, a week, and then we're, you know, no more activity for a while. So, that's the sad part. Temperature here outside is -2 Celsius, which is about, what, 30 Fahrenheit, 28 Fahrenheit. Not too bad of a day, not too bad of a winter day, but been a cold winter and a lot of snow in the past weeks. So we're really in the white stuff. Calvin says, does anyone by any chance have an answer to interference from a neighbor's new plasma TV interference? You know what? That is the worst thing with interference, when it's the type of interference you've got no control over, because it's your neighbor's new thingy, gadget, whatever, and you're like, yeah, since they have that new TV, it's horrible and there's nothing you can do about it. Honestly, I don't know much what you could do. You know, it's the sad part. I remember the first time I had interference was from a Sony TV, and we're talking in the 80s. My neighbor downstairs had bought a new, something like a 26-inch TV back in 1983, 84. And I remember every time she turned it on, I had some buzzing everywhere, which was the typical buzzing of a TV signal. And man, I had to listen when the TV was off, so I was always wishing that they'd be gone or something, or gone on vacation, because it would, you know, make my reception really bad. It's unfortunately something there's not a lot of control they can do about it. And the K2 says, hey, if we're talking weird signals, I can report seeing a lot of Link 11 signals around, especially a big one right in the middle of the pirate bands. Yeah, there's a lot of those Link 11 signals, which is NATO signals, and it's kind of links of communications from the NATO member countries. And there seems to be more and more of those popping up. Yesterday I had a weird sweep signal in the 8 megahertz range, and I noticed it also appeared somewhere around 6 megahertz, 6.7 megahertz, around there. A little later in the day, it was kind of you know, it was really a chirp signal, but it was not. It was a sweep. It was not like a Kodar, because Kodar, it's easy to understand the little sweeps that it does. But the thing is, that one was more of a sweep, and you know, I wondered if it wasn't a, I don't know, some kind of radar or something. But kind of interesting. There's a lot of these weird things popping up here and there now. Very interesting. What else do we have here? So, wow, everybody's born at the same time, William. Hope you're having fun with all these birthdays. And happy birthday to everybody. Billy Laptop, nice to have you here. Always cool to see everybody on board. Chris Freitas, nice to have you on board from Memphis. Nice to have you here. Rick Rock Ristorante from Stockholm. SM0SBT, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Jim, 1211. Nice to see you on board. Absolutely, 73. Ronald Zucala, nice to have you here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And yeah, we got to touch a radio today. Absolutely, we have to do this new movement. Touch a radio. JC Galloway, nice to have you here from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Martin Herrera, nice to have you here from Mexico. Pretty cool. Bobby Burgess got the SDR Play RSP1 from Mike Bott, and I really freaking love it. Cool. It is a well-known and seems to be a really good device. So I hope you're having a lot of fun with that. Radioactive, 12-second delay. PA1WX from Netherlands, nice to have you here. Neil Toombs, hello. Nice to have you on board. M0CJM in the UK. What else do we have? Wow, plus 11 Celsius in Oregon. Wow. Wow. What else? What else? Can't listen to shortwave at home anymore, only an online SDR. Yeah, that's so sad, Calvin. I hate it. You know, I've been using a little more online SDRs here too because of, you know, there's so much interference, and when I started tuning around some of the SDRs online, and I mean, when you get one that's really low noise, like there's the one in Sweden that I like, I gotta say, you listen to signals there and you're like, man, I'd like it to be like that here, which is crazy, you know, when you see how much interference, for sure. What else do we have? Nicholas Hughes says, found a very bizarre data transmission. I think it is. There's a lot of weird, you know, signals of all sorts out there. That's for sure. Richard Cook says, worst interference is his tablet charger. Yeah, I tend to play around with the different chargers. Often, you know, what I like today about one of the standards is that many devices use the same micro USB or mini USB connectors, meaning you can use any power supply that actually works to charge these things. And I found a few that are very low noise. For example, my Galaxy S7 charger is very, very low noise. So when it's not charging my phone, I actually use it to power on different devices because it literally makes almost zero noise. And I've got some other devices. I don't know, there was one hanging around the other day. I wanted to show you guys. I've got one of these, oh, this one. So, not to be fooled, there are, you know, these little white brick power supplies that are identical to, you know, an little Apple cube for the iPhone. But the thing is, this one is a cheap Chinese one. And I've got over there the original one for my iPhone 5. And the difference is that the cheap Chinese one creates a hell of a lot of noise everywhere. And the original Apple one doesn't. So what I've done is I'm using, you know, I got my iPhone 5 and I don't use anymore. So what I've been doing is I've been using the little iPhone cube to power up different devices. It's actually powering up right now my Fezri SDR. It's not even creating noise in it. So I kind of find it cool because, you know, I found a really quiet power supply to power my Fezri SDR, and it doesn't show too much in the way of noise over here. And that I love, I can tell you that. So, what else is there? Nicholas Tuesday. I'll be checking that out, Nicola, for sure, the videos. And don't forget, guys, if you want to have your YouTube channel highlighted by me, because it helps, you know, it helps you get a few more subscribers. And the only rule is that the majority of the videos that you post on it are radio related. So it could be amateur radio videos, it could be radio videos of all sorts. It just has to have, majority of the videos need to be radio related. Only rule. So why not, you know, send me the link of your channel at officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to talk about it. And Calvin says, same situation here, and it's airborne not coming back. Yeah, it's just crazy. Just crazy when it's airborne. There's not a lot you can do, actually. So really, really, really crazy here. What else? Chris Fraser says, sometimes I think I might get slight interference from the washer and dryer downstairs. It is possible. Laundry room is directly below my apartment, and I've noticed noise bump. That is totally possible, especially the newer, more, the ones that have a lot of electronic gadgets on the washer and dryer with all these lights. They have a lot of electronics and will tend to make more noise than the good old, you know, just washer and dryer with the button that you just turn. And you know, I tend always choose the basic models for these things because they often are better than anything else. I have a dishwasher here that actually creates little sweeps when it's working. So you know, I tend to do the dishwashing when I'm not listening to the radio. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Everything is. JC Galloway's going to get his first SDR device this weekend. Cool, you're going to love it. SDRs are really, really nice. Manny CV, hello there. Nice to have you on board. David Green, hey, from Iowa. Ralph Bender, hello there. Nice to have you here. And, yeah, Calvin, it's our new Tesla radio because we had somebody last week that was complaining that we were using SDRs and so on. So I said, okay, guys, let's touch a real radio together. And we all kind of touched a radio together, which was kind of fun and kind of a nice gesture in correspondence to, well, yeah, we touched a real radio today. Eric Cottrell, nice to have you on board at work in Watertown, Maine, Massachusetts. I always mix up Maine and Massachusetts. M-A is Massachusetts, right? Maine is M-E. So that's Massachusetts. Nice to have you here. There are a few states like that that I just mix up all the time. Let me have a little sip of my beer. So cheers, everybody. Today is Don de Dieu, which is the gift from God, basically. And that's what I've got. I got a 6-pack because I thought, well, I'll have 3 for today and 3 for tomorrow, which I thought would be just perfect. So, MDK2 says, can't wait for the warm weather to come. I scoped out a mountain park just 30 minutes away. Fully charged laptop, power pack. Can take his RSP2 and W6 LVP and listen in a quiet location. I can tell you that I am waiting very, very anxiously for good, nice, warm weather to come back. Peary Island expeditions, here I come. I actually going to buy myself a brand new bike. So I'll be doing a lot of biking and I'll be going to different parks this summer and showing up different places around Montreal, setting up as far away as possible from the noise sources and just having fun. And even more than that, you know, one thing that I did once, and actually I should do a lot more, I don't always have to go very far to have low noise. I got a park just 5-minute walking distance, and I've got a fold-up chair, so I can just bring, you know, a couple of portable radio, 100 feet of wire, fold-up chair, and set up in the park there. And I'm just 5 minutes away, and it is amazingly quiet when I get inside the park. So you know, even that I should do more and do more videos of that. So JC Galloway is KG5PHN. Nice to have everybody's call sign, by the way. Any snow? Yeah, we've got a lot of snow here. We've got a lot of snow here, and we are supposed to have like close to a foot of snow this weekend. Again, actually, the city's going crazy because they've kind of, you know, they typically have, I believe, something like. To get the snow removal, they typically think of about 5 snowstorms, or 5 times a snow removal per year, and basically we're like at 6 or 7, and the snow just keeps coming. So city's like going a little crazy. Mickey Delmage from Alberta, nice to have you on board, and just packing to get ready for the DX weekend at the Moment Antenna Farm in Lamont, Alberta. Now that's going to be fun. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun there. And conditions do seem pretty good, so if it's going to happen in the next few days or over the weekend, I think you're going to have some really cool DX. Conditions seems to be good and quiet, so I think you're going to have a lot of fun there. Hope you do. And it's going to be, and I think you will. Radioactive. No, I did not get the power supply for the RD5 because I did not have time to go to the electronics store. I will do so probably this week, getting the power supply, and it's going to have a little space here. For sure, but I'm still stuck with the crappy 8055 that comes with the radio right now. So, yep. 0 degrees where Eric Cottrell is, so it's not pretty close. Temperature's pretty close. Fabrice Simonet, bonjour. Hello, everybody. And nice to have you on board. David Arden, KJ4 CMY. Nice to have you on board. Daxpar, nice to have you here. Thank you very much for the nice comments. Always nice to have you on board for sure. It's always nice to have everybody. It's just crazy, crazy fun to see everyone and you know, enjoy this. Bobby Burgess, I haven't watched yet anything about the Olympics because I didn't have time, but yes, I am. I don't know why. There's something about Olympics that I kind of like. It's, you know, it's gets you away from the usual whatever is happening on TV. So I want to see those opening ceremonies. I've not watched them, and I believe they are rebroadcasting them tonight on TV here. So I want to see that. Apparently, it's beautiful to see all of that, and the drones, that Intel display with drones. I want to see all of that. Mr. Frank 632, hello there from Wales. Nice to have you on board. Eric says, looks like a heat wave up in Montreal at -7 Celsius. My friends are complaining about the snow up there. Yeah, there's a lot of snow, and anybody that has a car is complaining. This week, I met tons of people at different moments, where, and the general subject was, oh man, I just can't take it anymore shoveling my car all the time. You know, having a car in the winter here in Montreal is a complex thing. Chris Fadis says, thank you for highlighting my channel earlier this week. You know, I'm happy to do so. Southern Illinois son, hello there, good afternoon, nice to have you on board. Richard says, my channel is mainly shortwave stations. And did I highlight yours, Richard? I think I'm wondering if I highlighted your channel. I know I'm subscribed, but I'm not sure if I highlighted your channel. I'll be happy to do so if you have videos and post videos regularly, Richard. Can tell you that. Brett Wayne, KC2NXP, nice to have you here. What else do we have? And Chris Freitas says, I did get the RTL SD earlier this week, but I did return it. Was getting a ton of images and was a little bummed I could not adjust RF gain while in direct sampling mode. You can usually, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can, Chris. Because the problem with the RTL SDRs, and especially the ones that are not expensive, is the fact that they easily overload. And they do have images, you know, they're basic receivers, and you got to be careful at the setup because it's crucial. The setup and the RF gain is crucial for you to have a good setup, to have a good working device. So, yep. Oh, I didn't know that Maine was part of Massachusetts until 1820. You just made me learn something I did not know. Hi, Mapper from Moscow. Nice to have you here. Richard Cook's receiving Voice of Korea on 7570. And Jerry DX watched the opening ceremonies in VR this morning. So cool. Yeah, it must have been. That must have been nice. For sure. And what else do we have? Matrix 54 from Snowy Chicago. That's probably what's coming here, basically. Sorry, do you have anything to say about SDR Play versus the SDR Play Pro? The Pro has a metal enclosure and the non-Pro got plastic. Well, technically in a metal enclosure you should have a quieter device because the metal enclosure will, you know, kind of make sure that any surrounding noise cannot get to the device itself. But I can't really, I don't have, you know, I don't know if somebody maybe can give his own opinion on that, since I don't have these devices, but is there a big difference between the SDR Play and the SDR Play Pro? Apart from the fact that it has a metal enclosure, is there anything else that is different from it? So what else do we? William Helm says SDR is a radio. Yeah, you know, it is a radio, but some people seem to not like that, for sure. What else do we have? Oh, you had snow on Tuesday up there in the UK. Philip Briggs from Brazil, 34 Celsius. Pretty sure no snow in there. I don't think there's snow in Brazil. What else do we have? Technically, snowmobiles are not allowed within the streets in Montreal, but when there are really big snowstorms, sometimes it happens that you could see one. But technically, they are not allowed within the streets. Snowmobiles need to be in the snowmobile tracks, and you know, that are just for that, basically. So there's we don't see those except when we go, you know, outside of the city. Then we'll see them quite often. Okay, Richard, I will. I'll highlight your channel and post regular videos. Well, I'll be happy to highlight your channel for sure. John Toe, nice to have you here from Alabama, and 68 Fahrenheit, sunny. Shortwave listener since 61. That's nice. That's nice. I don't say it often, just to remind everybody. Sometimes I don't say it, and people say, well, you know, we don't know where you are when you don't talk about it, when we don't know you. I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America, and I've been a shortwave listener actively since 1982. Well, that's like 35, 36 years ago. Starting to get old. Nicholas says, I'm really thinking this DE1103, a lot of bang for your buck. Absolutely. The Degen DE1103 is an amazing radio for the price paid. You've got a really, really good device there. That's for sure. Mad Boy, good evening. Nice to have you here. (20 degrees Celsius here in Latakia. Solar activity on AM, treble, and FM. We go out with t-shirts, and we must be in winter now. Wow. Yeah, metal enclosures are somewhat of a Faraday cage, absolutely. So they do make the noise lower in the device, that's for sure. And they can be hurted easily, also. Yeah, absolutely. You know, plastic enclosure. Many times I've done modifications for plastic stuff. For example, here my Pro 2006 that you've got here, which is an old scanner, is its major issue was the fact that it's in a plastic enclosure. And when I purchased there was a big book of modifications for scanners, and I did a few mods on this one, on the Pro 2006, to have it scan faster, to have it to, you know, listen to the analog sol band back in the 90s. And one of the things that I had done also that is done in this one, I removed the two plastic enclosure and bought special metal paint that is actually for reducing the interference, or the the RF getting into the circuitry from the box. So I had painted the insides with a metal paint and then put it back together, and I had seen difference in the noise levels and certain frequencies because they were just getting in the device or the scanner through the plastic box, basically. So cool. MDK2, everybody's welcome to send me the link to their channel so I can review them and help you out, you know, especially with the new rules on YouTube with, you know, you need 1,000 subs and everything. If I can just help you kind of, you know, get a little more subscribers and try to get there as fast as you can. They've done changes, by the way, on YouTube. I've been receiving, I'm actually very happy for that. Since they have the new rules, I've been receiving some really nice an email from YouTube. So on the radio channel here, I received a email saying, hey, You know, you're in the you got a lot of subscribers here, and you know, we can enable for you a certain type of help, and it's nice because now I have direct access to somebody that I can actually talk to if something ever happens to a channel. And same for my my Windows channel, which is even more popular because it has like 37,000 subscribers, and they gave me even a higher rank where I can actually contact somebody. So this is really, really cool. Captain Ron, sunny New Mexico, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's perfect weather to go out with a radio, piece of wire, and just have a lot of fun. Ralph Bender says, voice of Turkey with a strong signal. Cool. Mr. Blackpool, random question, if you don't mind. Should I get a Texan PL 660 or similar, or an old school AOR AR8200 MK3 in terms of shortwave performance? Okay, you'd have to ask somebody that has an AOR AR8200 MK3. And I'll give you my opinion of based on personal experience, especially in this case with my R20, my ICOM SCR20 portable. My personal opinion, and I might be wrong because I never tested the AR8200 MK3. I have seen some people say, oh, I got great shortwave performance on my AOR. And it is possible it might be really good, but my gut feeling would kind of tell me that, first of all, there are different receivers, different types of receivers. So you got to think about the fact that you're not going to, you know, you're getting more stuff and more frequencies to listen to on the AR8200. But for shortwave radio performance itself, I would think that the Texan PL 660, being a receiver that does just that, listen to shortwave and medium wave with single sideband, might be a better performer on that frequency range than the performance you'll get from the AOR AR8200. That said, you got to think about what you will do. Do you want to have a wideband receiver that gets a lot of stuff? That's also something to think about, because you might say, well, I want to have all these frequencies to listen to, and then you would answer, okay, I'll get the AOR. But if you want strictly shortwave, my gut feeling, the Texan PL 660 might actually be better on shortwave. But I might be wrong, and maybe somebody in the chat that got one is going to say, oh, no, it's a great performer on shortwave, I can tell you that. That's for sure. You know, like the ICOM ICR20, it's okay performer on shortwave, but it's not a, I'm not going to use that to DX on shortwave. It's not good enough for that. Does the DE1103 have a single sideband? Yes, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's actually a very different radio from Eton E5, Chris. The E1103 is a very different receiver. But they are, the Eton E5 or Grundig G5 is the same radio. I've got one here. Amazing receiver. Amazing receiver. Sonny Little Sense says, Blur to Stare needs some coins. Send your $1 million check today. Yeah, well, if you want to send $1 million check, guys, why not think of me instead of Brother Stare, and I'll immediately, I promise, I get $1 million check from someone. The first thing I do is rent tons of airtime everywhere on WRMI, WBCQ, and fill the airwaves of good, interesting shortwave radio shows. So send that $1 million check to me. Crooked Ninja, nice to have you here. Radioactive has Radio Free Asia on 7300 S7. Wow. So yeah, Bobby, I talked about the Olympics a little with your question. I haven't yet, but I will, because I kind of like that. You know, kind of interesting to see, and always curious to see how Canadian athletes will do, especially that Canada is a winter country. We should technically do okay at the Winter Olympics, which wasn't always the case. We sometimes do okay, sometimes we do bad. So hopefully we'll do good this time around. Catherine Ron says, I have both, get the Texan. So kind of answers a question here. Get the Texan. What else do we have? What else do we have? Yeah, well, sometimes Radio Free Asia comes in, and that's got to be careful also. That now that Dexfar is saying that Radio Free Asia is very easy to listen and be fooled, because finally you're on the China National Radio 1 instead of being on Radio Free Asia. Most of my experience with Radio Free Asia frequencies has been that every time I hear something in Chinese there or in Mandarin, it's always the China National Radio 1 that overpowers Radio Free Asia. But it might be Radio Free Asia, it is possible also. Catherine Ross says, the 1103 is a monster. I have the original. I recommend it. I have the original too. It's right here in my. It's actually right there in front of me in my radio stuff there. So it's kind of cool. Joey D, nice to have you here. Says, Brother Sterk, can get all the checks sent to him from the Globe. It's not gonna matter soon. He will end up in prison. Yeah, I guess so. Mike DX, nice to have you here. Always cool to have you on board. MDK2 says, if I got $1 million, I'd pay BBC, NHK, and KBC to relay the English, French, Portuguese, and Spanish programming from WRMI at my expense. Yeah, you know what? That's the funny thing. You say, how could they refuse? And that is so funny, because sometimes it just doesn't work like that. Sometimes you'll offer them and they're going to say, man, we don't want to do that. You know, sometimes they're so, minded at the fact that, North America shouldn't have shortwave or something is just crazy. Can tell you that. So then I would get the sweetest Radio Shack you'd ever seen. Yeah, with $1 million, I can tell you that. I can tell you that. So, okay. My new setup, right here. So for those that wonder, I've been working on setting up everything here. So I've got the SDR. So the first thing is here, this monitor, this screen, it's a TV screen actually, 32-inch Sony, has two computers plugged on it. Well, more than two, but okay. I've got my HP desktop with Windows 7 that is actually powering HD SDR right now and works with the Afedri SDR that I've got here. So that is the HP desktop. I consider the HP desktop plugged on this monitor my main radio computer, I'll call it. Why? Because it powers the SDR, but it also has all the decoding software. I've installed pretty much every decoding software and continue to install more. So I consider this to be my ultimate radio computer. But there's also a laptop that's plugged onto this screen that has Windows 10 Insider Preview, Windows 10 Pro Insider Preview. So I just switch HDMI ports and I go from Windows 7 with all the radio stuff to Windows 10 Insider Preview, where I could do videos on the Insider channel, for example. I've got here the retro stuff, and one is missing, is the Commodore 128. It's going to be right here on the left side. You've got the Atari 1040 ST right here on the top. You've got an Amiga 500 right here at the bottom. They all work. They're all in good working condition, plugged in, ready to fire up. And I actually played a game of Pinball Dreams on the Amiga 500 yesterday. Had a lot of fun with that. And played a game of Test Drive from Accolade on the 1040. Works really, really great. So there'll be a Commodore 128 here next to it. And that's all going to be plugged over there. and we're just going to have all of that goodness on the screen here. And finally, because that is not a smart TV, I've got a Apple TV 3rd generation right here, which is a little black box. That gives me smart TV capabilities if you want. Netflix, YouTube, and Crackle, and I can cast the screen of my iPhone or a device onto that TV through the Apple TV. So I'm having a lot of fun, and I've added. Actually, I brought it here. I got actually this new little Google Mini Home Mini, I think. So hey Google, what is shortwave radio?
According to Wikipedia, shortwave radio is radio transmission using shortwave radio frequencies, generally 1.6 to 30 megahertz, just above the medium wave AM broadcast band.
Well, thank you. So I got a little Google Mini here, so the NSA can snoop on me all they want. I got a Chromecast. So these are for video purposes. I'll be doing videos on some channels with these devices. So my setup, of course, with my radios here, my icon on the back. The only thing that's missing is my parrot flag that I need to put higher so that you guys could see it better. So that's going to be, I'm going to try to do it for tomorrow. So tomorrow's show. And by the way, tomorrow there is another show. 1400 hours UTC tomorrow. We'll live again with some radio stuff. Hope you guys enjoy the show. So that's the setup that I'm actually doing right now. Mike DX says Olympics makes China, Korea DXing interesting. Yeah, KBS World Radio must have a lot of stuff there for sure. So yes, sorry, 741. As I was saying it, I said, oh man, I'm gonna kind of, you know, have all the Google stuff out there start up. So it's really crazy. What else do we have? Radioactive says, Joe, you might be right on CNR1. I only checked with shortwave.com and it said Radio Free Asia only. Then I just checked the IBS space and it shows RFA and CNR1. They're always together. It's very simple. They're always together. What happens is Radio Free Asia sets up these frequencies. The Chinese government finds the frequencies easily, and they just put the China National Radio 1 on the same frequency with tons of power, like 500 kilowatts. So CNR1 is actually very easy to listen to and receive. So many times I've heard CNR1 jammer either over Radio Free Asia or the other one that's in Taiwan that actually tries to send propaganda through to China. So kind of, you know, a lot of fun. Fabrice Simonet says, Amiga, now we're talking. This is a love. It's working great and I love my Amiga. The only thing is, one of the biggest problems with the Amiga and the Atari is the fact that they are, so these are the North American models that are NTSC. And this Amiga has the upgraded chipset in it. So what happens is a lot of games are incompatible or aren't showing up right on the screen because they're made for the PAL version in Europe. And the same thing happens with the Atari 1040 ST, so it kind of makes it really difficult sometimes to find some games that really work well on the devices. So it's the only thing I hate. Apart from that, they're really, really nice. Chris Fatos says there's a retro style indie game I'm looking forward to check out called Owlboy, and harkens back to some 16-bit games. Nintendo just needs to release the older games on the Switch. Yeah, well, soon. They said for the Switch when they will actually start the gaming streaming service, the game service, online gaming service in September, that classic Nintendo games will be available. So Bobby Burgess says on a Roku Express, when you do your SDR captures, it will lag. Huh, okay. Radioactive. Oh, God. Yeah, they're on multiple transmitters. They jam tons and tons of frequencies, absolutely, in the K2. So, you know, it is possibly jammed. So but CNR1 is everywhere, just crazy, and it's easy to listen to. They're so powerful, I can tell you that. Chris, how's the Chromecast working for you? Love it. I love the Chromecast. It makes it really easy to stream stuff, and it's really great. And I've been even you know, outputting the screen of my Galaxy S7 phone, casting it to my 50-inch screen in the living room, and it works really, really well. I'm very, very happy with the Chromecast. Very cheap and works really, really nice. So what else do we have here? David Arden says, I would rather play Space Invaders than the fancy games they have out now. Yeah, it depends. You know, there are games, but I think it has. You know what, David? It has to do with one major thing. It has to do with the fact that what we grew up with. So I kind of like old games. You know, on the Amiga, when I think it was last summer, I played through Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders, and then I did Secret of Monkey Island all over again. I had done those a long time ago, but they are cool games and they are nice. And you know, I've played recently some adventure games like that. The last one I played was Dead Synchronicity, which is very unique and very interesting, and I played it through on the PC, and it was nice, and I did enjoy playing it. But somehow, I don't know why. Is it because I'm getting older? There's different things also that are in there, but basically the things that are happening here is that I don't know, I don't have the same feel as the old games. I don't have the same feel as, you know, the past, and it's kind of, I don't know, I can't really explain it. I don't know why. You know, a lot of new games are still pretty good, but I don't know. I think it has to do with just maybe being nostalgic, basically. How often do you have to restart an SDR? Can you leave it on 24/7 running Windows 10? In my case, I would be able to, the ephedra I got here, technically I would have it running 24 hours and it would work fine. It rarely has issues. Usually if I have an issue it's because HD SDR crashed. It doesn't happen very often, but it does sometimes. But I would technically be able to leave it on 24/7 and I have no problem on Windows 10 or Windows 7. Voice of Grace is strong on 9420. Let's check it out. 9420. Heard it yesterday. 9420. So I've got, let's just turn off the icon. There we go. Look at that, the icon and no more buzzing. No signal. Yesterday was on though. Yesterday I could hear the the Voice of Greece yesterday afternoon, but really nothing now. Enoch Nevdal, nice to have you on board, my friend, and pretty cool. Ralph Bender says Chromecast really good one. I got one of the first model, which is great for streaming, and I've got a copy of that. I've got a thing called the Anycast, which is a kind of a copy of the Chromecast. The only thing is that just that what it has different from the Chromecast is you have two modes on the Anycast, and what you could do is you could cast both an Android phone or tablet and an iPad or an iPhone, because it has AirPlay for the iPad and the iPhone, and it has the you know, casting capabilities for Android. So it's kind of fun for that, but it has a lag and it's difficult to kind of change it. It's not the best, you know. Chromecast, you plug it in, it just works. No, it's really easy to set up. So it's very, very different. I can tell you that. Fabrice, is it possible to decode Morse code with just a PC microphone and a software? Absolutely. Honestly, if you are in a quiet environment, okay, quiet environment, if you don't plug in directly with a wire in a quiet environment, you'll be able to decode with the microphone in the laptop, for example, or a tablet, even a tablet, Morse code and digital modes. I actually often do it. Sometimes there will be a digital mode or something I want to hear, but I won't have, you know, I don't feel like, you know, taking the wires out and setting up. I'm not always here in the office doing it, so it's something that I sometimes want to just, you know, out of the blue. Oh, I want to decode that signal, you know, that Morse code signal, or you know, maybe a weather fax. What I'll do is I'll just go into a room where it's very quiet, turn on the laptop, fire up the software, and just have the audio playing. And it actually works great. It actually works really, really great. But don't make a noise, because the noise will create problems in the decoding. So, you know, I guess it depends on everyone. Chris Fredo says, I'm kind of in the same mindset. Older games like Final Fantasy VI are a different beast compared to newer ones. So, you know, I don't know. It's someone needs to do an application called Gel SDR. Weighted Cube, hey, nice to have you here. You know, there's the change that will you know, I think our taste change with time. In my case, there's also something weird that happens with I'm a big, you know, what I was really into was adventure games, and one of the things that happened is, you know, one of my sisters passed away from cancer 8 years ago, and 7 years ago, and what's happening with that is that we were doing we would always do the same game together, and every day when we would talk on you know, live messenger or something, we'd always, you know, compare where we are each, and if one of us had difficulty, well, you know, we could give a hint to, oh, that you can't go in that room because you forgot to pick up the red key that's in that other place, so you'll need to go back and check that. But when she passed away, for a few years, I did not play any adventure games. It just felt wrong for some reason. And I guess one of the things that maybe is impacting even today after 7 years, when I do play a new adventure game, still got that feel, you know, when I would play them with my sister. And I think that also is something that makes me kind of, I don't know, go a little, not you know, feel at ease. For example, one of the games we played together was Siberia series, and I've got Siberia on this PC right now set up, and I thought, you know what, it's a great game, I should redo Siberia. I probably don't remember half of the things, and it started up, and I immediately felt like when I was, you know, that period of time with my sister, and it felt bizarre, and I did not fire it up afterwards. I was like, nah, feels weird, I don't know. MDK2, my daughter likes a new game called Cuphead. It is an amazing game. I have it on my I did purchase Cuphead on my Windows 10 laptop. It is actually a very amazing game, but it's a very difficult game also. Radioactive says Point Reyes weather facts on 8680, so pretty cool. Yeah, Bobby, I have not yet demonstrated Anycast. I will I'll check that out. I'll actually try to bundle all of that up, talk about the Chromecast, the Anycast, Google Mini. I want to talk about all these devices. It's really time. I haven't had a lot of time. Leon, nice to have you here. Says, any of you tried to create a GSM base station and experiment with it? That's a question out there. What else do we have? Ernie Turner, nice to have you on board. VK3DET from Australia. Chris says, anyone who looks to stream audio but doesn't have Bluetooth should look into the Chromecast audio and hook it to a receiver with a line-in jack. Yeah, absolutely. Nicolas can hear the buzzer on his Degen D1103. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's Cuphead is amazing. Absolutely. Absolutely. What else do we have? Let me just go down here. Richard Cook's receiving the buzzer, not too bad at 4625. Pretty cool. Max Edstrong, greetings. Nice to have you on board. So, yep. Sometimes, you know, those things in life. Have you seen the Hackaday article in making SDR portable? Yes, I did see that. Very, very nice little, very portable thing. It was very, very amazing. Totally saw that. Really, really cool. Okay, Two Hands on Radio says RSP2 and RSP2 Pro is just plastic versus metal housing. Really, you know, you could probably, you know, maybe house it in, you know, aluminum foil or something, and do some kind of, you know, of a protection on it for interference, but kind of interesting. It'd be interesting to compare, you know, both devices, the one with plastic encasing and metal casing. Yeah, I'm hearing Grease a little more now with some music. Oh, by the way, guys, you guys have not seen that. Last week, when I played the Lincolnshire Poacher, I got a copyright strike on my live show. And so, when I saw that there was a copyright strike on my show, I looked at it, and it's Merlin, the Conspiracy 51, that actually said, no, this is our stuff. So I actually complained to YouTube and said, no, whoa. Lincolnshire Poacher is a recording of something that was in the past, that is not owned by, nobody can tell you it's owned by them, except maybe the UK government. So I said, no, you can't, I'm sorry, they can't claim that that is copyright stuff and that my revenue of my video is going to go to them. No way. So I told him, look, nope, I can't accept that. And 3 days after I complained, came back and they said, Merlin Conspiracy 51, whatever, is actually removing their copyright claim on the video, so the revenue is going to be yours. I said, come on, you can't do that. You can't use some recording of something else. You know, it's as if I would post a recording of Radio Romania, and somebody somewhere out of the blue would say, oh, this is my content, copyrighted, I want to have... No. And you know, I hate YouTube for that. There's a lot of shitty copyright claims like that. One of them, CHU. I posted a CHU video with time signal. And 2 days after, I get, oh, you got a copyright claim. That group says that you are, it's a copyright. They own the rights to that. No, I'm sorry. Nobody owns the right to the beeps, beeps, beeps of CHU. Okay? So I complained. Yeah, I got the monetization back, but there are tons of these crappy claims all the time. Just so tiring. So you guys, when you get a copyright claim for something on a video of radio, okay, look at it. Is it something from somebody else and someone's claiming copyright on it? Fight it up. Don't just stand there and say, oh, well, I'll just remove the... No, fight it. Because there's a lot of bogus claims. A lot of bogus claims. WRMI on 7780 says Richard Cook. PLF Radio, no pirate rebroadcasting your show. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Usually there's somebody somewhere that says, oh yeah, there's a pirate. Let's, out of the blue, look at pirate activity just for the fun of it. So there's some pirate activity here. And actually I should look at, really should look at, let's check 5,000. That's where in the bottom part here sometimes there's a pirate. So that's that's Cuba. 4040. So around there was some pirate activity from time to time. But seems to be really quiet right now on the pirate activity level. So hey, we're already an hour into the show. This is incredible. Incredible. So let's try 7780. I really am not receiving WRMI very well there. Now I see a signal. I barely hear something. But nope, 7780 is horrible. Horrible for me. Totally horrible. So it's just crazy. And by the way, I just saw a donation come in. Just want to say, this weekend, something special with the donations. So if you want to donate something to me through PayPal, all PayPal donations this weekend will be shared with Glenn Hauser's World of Radio. I think he does a great job with his show every week. So I will be sending half of the donations I get to Glenn Hauser's World of Radio, unless you tell me in the comments of PayPal, keep 60% and give 40%, or just keep it for yourself. I will respect that. But this weekend, all the donations I will get today and tomorrow, we'll put all of that together. These donations I will share half, 50%. I will send to Glenn Hauser for his fantastic job with World of Radio, and at the same time, it's kind of a thank you gift also, because I've been advertising my live shows through his DX Listening Digest Yahoo group, and it's another way of kind of thanking him for letting me advertise through his Yahoo group at the same time. I think it's a very nice gesture. I would comprehend totally if he would tell me, oh well, I don't like that type of advertising and everything. It lets it go through, and I'm really happy that he does so. So unless you tell me in the comments, no, I want you to take it all, half of the donations I'll get today and tomorrow, I am going to send to Glenn Hauser to thank him for his devotion for shortwave shows. So paypal.me/shortwave, or if it doesn't work, because for some people it doesn't work, just go to PayPal and send to the Yahoo email you see there. It's the same thing. And if you want to have something set up monthly, I've got 8 patrons right now on patreon.com/radioandcomputers that are giving me a little something every month. It's deducted automatically at the beginning of the month, and so it is a way to give me a little something. Personally, I like PayPal better, but Patreon is also a nice way to send me a little something, and you can set it up. Just be careful, because on Patreon, it's sometimes the way that the people set it up, you get fooled and you get like more money than supposed to. That's why I kind of prefer that you use PayPal. PayPal at least is a one-time thing, and that's it. And I want to thank everybody that have donated, by the way. It's much appreciated. And don't forget, this weekend's donations today and tomorrow, 50% are going to go to Glenn Hauser's World of Radio. Okay. What else do we have? Ernie Turner says the woodpecker was on 14 megahertz last night. Yeah, there's a equivalent of the woodpecker popping up at different places. It's getting, there's a lot of these weird signals, by the way, woodpecker, sweepers of all sorts, that actually have this tendency to pop up in the middle of amateur radio bands. It's just crazy. Just crazy. There's no respect. It's like when you'll have the same type of woodpecker or type of signal and it pops up right in the middle of the international broadcast band. I think it was the other day I was listening to Radio Japan, the French service from Madagascar on 9855, and 5 minutes into the show, they started to have some kind of a sweeping, very strong sweeping signal, very wide, about 30 kilohertz wide. It was so strong actually that I just couldn't listen to the program anymore. I thought, man, there's so many other frequencies you can sweep through. Why don't you, use the frequencies where nothing is there? Yes, Bobby, my sister died of cancer 7 years ago. Unfortunately, well, one of my sisters, because I have two sisters, and it's really, really sad. She was very young, too. Joan Silkins, good evening. Nice to have you here, Joan. Robert Martin says, enjoying your show. Would you consider doing a show about fully setting up an SDR dongle as a receiver? Well, not this. Well, yeah, I guess I could do it within a show, but I do have a few videos of setting it up and setting up like an RTL SDR dongle, stuff like that. But I'll check that out. I'll check that out for sure. I mean, what we could do with the live shows also, for sure. Yeah, Max A. Strong, copyright for the Lincolnshire Poacher. Like what? What's happening? Hey, Paul Swift, nice to have you on board. MDK2 says, I have copyright claims all the time because there's music on many of my radio recordings, but I would laugh if it was for something like a time signal. Yeah, that's the stupid thing, That's the stupid part. Just wait, guys, because I have the impression that Mr. Paul the Cat wants to get inside. I don't know if I'm really heard him well. Yeah, he's right here. I don't know if you guys heard him meow. He was tapping on the door because it was closed and he wanted to come in. So Mr. Paul the Cat is here. And come here. Come say hi to everybody. Huh? You too? Come on. Howdy. Cats. They really do what they want, eh? So, yeah, you know what happens, David, is that some groups sometimes will take claim for copyright stuff that actually it's not theirs. And let's just show you guys Mr. Cut. Mr. Paul is right here. So what happens is they actually go on and try to claim copyright on all sorts of weird things. So if actually the YouTuber doesn't, react to it, well, they start getting, all the monetization from your video. So there are groups out there that just do that. They try to claim copyright on all sorts of things, and they get all the money, and you don't, and it just is annoying as hell. But just crazy, just crazy. But when there's music and stuff like that, that's why even in the live shows when I tune, you guys notice how fast I go through any signal that there's music in, because I just don't want to, have a copyright claim. Because with music, it's understandable. I mean, somebody created that music, but so crazy, so crazy. MDK2 says, I have to think that the K-pop artists whose music is used by V24 must get some change from all the V24 videos on YouTube. I don't know, but man. Hey, Captain Ron, take care. And he's at Denny's dinner. The waitress is giving me the dirty looks. You know, when you're sitting there and everything is over, and it's like, yeah, why are you just, you know, hanging around now? You got nothing more to drink or to eat. 2 Radio, interested in your opinion of the Degen D1103. Would you go with the original PLL version or newer DSP? Definitely the original. More and more, and I've actually seen a lot of posts and of comments. It does seem that the newer DSP version is really not as good as the original DE 1103. And definitely, if you can find the original one, get the original one. If you get the Degen, it is better. It is really better. Nicholas getting something on 7780. Richard says, I think WBCQ on 7490 playing music. So, and I've got cat hair everywhere now. Whew, this cat is losing so much hair in the past few days. I don't know if it's because the days are getting longer or something, but man, he's losing a lot of cat hair everywhere. I will need Benadryl tonight. Bobby says, okay, Brett Wing. Okay, let's go by order here. Leon says, does any of you have any idea about something not too expensive to create base station for GSM? I don't know. I don't know. Brett Wayne says 7780 is 10 over S9 in Salamanca, New York. Wow, this is crazy because I really ain't getting, you know, I'm unable to hear 7780 pretty much anytime. And it's interesting to see that in the state of New York, you are getting it really well, you know. Bobby Burgess, BBC on 11810. Let's check it out here. 11810. Do my receiving the BBC. There's a slight signal. I do hear the distinct voice. Let's try 12095. Something weak on 12095. Very weak on 9915. Definitely not very strong signal, but it was there. It's definitely there, but it's not very strong here right now. What else do we have? Okay. Joey D, do you remember not so long ago all those fights on 14 megahertz? Did the FCC finally kill that? Lots of dead keys for hours. You know what? The problem is that the FCC, a little bit like Industry Canada here in Canada, has no resource. So it's very difficult for them to really do anything unless there's help to pinpoint where things are happening. So I did see some reports of crackdowns for some amateur operators that were intentionally doing interference on the 20 meter band and different amateur bands. But I would say that the majority of all of that is probably going unpunished, basically. Majority of that is probably going unpunished because simply there's just, you know, no resource to help out. Nicholas is receiving Greece on 9420. Ingmar, hello there. Nice to have you on board from Germany. Great show, thank you very much. So, well, actually 14 megahertz, not kilohertz, 14 megahertz is actually pretty good in the winter. For in the late afternoons, early evenings, there's a lot of stuff to listen to. 20 meter band is great pretty much all year round, but in the winter time you'll have to focus on, you know, daytime and late afternoon. Let's try 14200. Let's see if there's some amateur activity right now. Here we go. There's one signal right here. Let's check it out.
Just the light and all that stuff. I think there's something wrong with you.
These look like American stations. Everybody's saying hi, DX. Hello there. So, Mr. Ingmar, near Nuremberg. Nice to have you here for sure. That's 14 megahertz. How come radio people have cats? I've seen a lot of people who have cats. You know what? I think it has to do with part of our hobby that is a solitary hobby, and that probably the only thing that can, you know, understand and stay there even though there's tons of noise, probably cats and dogs. There's a lot of radio people with dogs, so you know. Whew. Is DX losing weight? No, he's actually gained. I was looking at him and sleeping on the floor the other day, and I was like, "You look fatter than you used to be." So I got on the scale, and I took him up, and he's 19 pounds now. So I'll have to do something because he can't, you know, he can't get fatter than that. It's not going to be good for him. And I am losing weight, so, you know, I've on the 1st of January, I weighed in at 219 pounds, and I thought, okay, that's too much. And last time I went to the doctors for, you know, checkup and blood pressure stuff. He looked at me and said, you know, you're a little fat, you should do something about it. So I went from 219 pounds 1st of January. And this morning I was 203 pounds. So I've lost 16 pounds in a little more than a month. And I plan to try to lose another 20 in the next month and a half or 2 months. I want to, actually, I'd like to go to around 180 and stay there. Because, you know, you feel better when you lose weight. And of course, beer doesn't help that much. So I try to, you know, drink less beer. That's for sure. Okay. What else do we have? What else do we have? Ralph Bender also has a cat. Wow, a Russian cat at 30 pounds. I would not like to see Paul the cat at 30 pounds. I can tell you that. David Arden says, I have a cat too. Cats and radios. What a combination. Absolutely. And they usually like the warmth of the radios, or, you know, it's, and they're there. It's always fun. DK2 says, don't have a cat for now. Still mourning my kitty who passed. Yeah, I can imagine when Paul will pass away or disappear, if he disappears or something. Man, I'm gonna be so sad for a while. I can tell you that. I'm gonna probably tell myself, okay, no more, you know, no more pets, or something like that. Neil Toom says, surely someone from YouTube should look at the claim, see that you're not making the money from their music, but the fact that you're demonstrating radio, for example. Well, there's something, Neil, that is called fair use. So fair use means that if you have a 10 or 15 second clip of a song, technically it should not be unmonetized. And fair use is actually, you know, can be used for bad things. There's a Finnish idiot that uses that with my stuff. But fair use is a good thing because you can use a small, you know, if fair use did not exist, we couldn't have, you know, the picture of someone at the news, because they would have to pay royalties to have the picture there. But if it's a news item that goes with it, you can, you know, that's fair use. The biggest problem with YouTube is the fact that it's all automatic. YouTube, no one is looking at what's happening. So, for example, when I got hit by the copyright claim, the group that did that is probably doing it automatically everywhere. So what happens is that the computers at YouTube, they heard the Lincolnshire poacher, they said, oh, that's owned by that guy, because they're always claiming that they want royalties. So the computer just jumped on it and said, oh, copyright claim. you have to have someone look at it in order to change that, and that's where YouTube is very, very weak. There's not a lot of people doing the manual stuff needed to help you out. So it's a very complex thing, and often you got to go through, you know, questionnaires and say, yeah, and this is why I think that that is no good, and it's like, you know, come on, they need to do a better job, and they're I gotta say that their own little their own computers, their own artificial intelligence that looks at all of that is like, you know, messed up. I can tell you that. Rock Restaurante in Sweden says, yeah, you're right, I'm amateur operator and got a cat. Jerry says, got the original D1103. West of Korea in Korean and 6170 from Richard Cook. Bobby Burgess got 77080. Cool. Jeff Wiley, what handheld shortwave radio do you have? Oh God, you really want to... I'm going to spend the next 6 hours talking about my radios. I've got many portable receivers. I've got, you know, tons of radios. So the ones that I use the most, because even though I got tons of them, we always have our favorites that we use all the time. So I'd say that I got a lot of them, but the majority of what I use is either the Texan PL680, the Degen D1103, Texan PL380. Now I'll use probably the Ethon Traveler 3 that I've had for a few weeks now. Gradic G5 and the CountyCom GP5 SSB. So those are all receivers that I will tend to use quite regularly. Apart from the tabletops that I have, an old Radio Shack DX398, which is the same thing as the Stangian ATS 909. So, you know, I've got tons of radios, and, you know, that is not even 10% of all of my radios that I just mentioned here. So it gives you an idea of how many radios I've got, actually. Rock Restaurante says S9 in Sweden. 7780 is good here in the UK, Neil Tim says. Wow. You guys are lucky, I don't hear it. JD Williamson, nice to have you on board. Yes, there's a show tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. So, yep, absolutely. No problem there. Thanks for listening to 5450. Yeah, that's the Royal Air Force from the UK. Look at that, good signal today. Now this is Royal Air Force in the UK, giving out weather for so what else do we have? MDK2 says their enforcement seems very toothless. There's a guy in California who was jammed the Warfanet for years. They denied his license renewal, but it's on appeals. Maritime. In the meantime, he jams every net they have. Man, you know, there's the FCC and the Industry Canada here are a pale resemblance of what they were back in the 70s, when there was a lot more people there to actually enforce the regulations of radio. Rock Restaurante, yes, I am allergic to cats, less than before. I used to be really allergic. So what I do right now is I have Benadryl, and when it gets a little too much, I take 2 Benadryl, usually for maybe a day or two. Kind of calms down everything, and I'm okay for a while after that. So every time it comes back, I just, you know, take a couple of Benadryls, and symptoms go away. But it's much less than it used to be. I used to be really allergic, but over time it's, you know, desensitizing basically. Jerry, what do you think of the SpaceX launch this week? I think it's really cool because it's the most powerful rocket that exists on this planet right now, which means that, you know, thanks to SpaceX, the United States got a really cool, really powerful launcher. For the rest, well, I think it's a rich man's, you know, Elon Musk, a rich man's idea of let's send a Tesla in space with a mannequin inside. That's kind of, you know, zero science, but hey, why not? You want to test a rocket and you want to send something, might as hell, you know, why not send a car? Doesn't matter. Ralph Bender says 5450 Royal Air Force Week signal here today. The K2 says not wearing show, but pace yourself. If you lose too much, you run the risk of rebounding. Yeah, absolutely. I will be careful, but I really need. Mostly, what I do to lose weight, Jerry, is really eat less. I've been hungry every evening. I was thinking about that this week because, you know, every night around 8 p.m. I mean, I get, you know, I'm hungry and I want to eat something. That's crazy, and you know, I got to resist because it's the only way I'm going to lose weight is to resist the temptation of eating something. But technically, it's really eating less, and basically, you know, that's the only way it works. You got to reduce the number of calories you get in, and that's how I've been doing it. Really eating less, and I've been receiving the good food boxes here. We've got a thing called Make Good Food, which is there's another one called Miss Fresh, which is the same kind of things. In the U.S., there's a Blue Apron. You know, it's a box with the recipes and all the ingredients. And what's nice with those recipes, because my biggest problem is when I cook food, I always cook food for 30 person. So if I make, you know, a pot of macaroni and cheese, I will make macaroni and cheese for 10 people, and I will eat half of that. So that's not good, you know, it's way too many calories and it's really way too much. So with the good food boxes, what's nice is all is calculated for what one person should eat. And it's very, very nice because they have a lot of vegetables and, you know, everything is mixed in so that you have food that is actually healthy. And you can't eat more than the portion that they send you. So when you do that, you have what you have. And they're surprisingly generous portions. But because they mix in vegetables, it kind of fills you up, but has less calorie than, you know, whatever I would do at home. So I got to be careful with that, you know. And I gotta really, really, you know, try to make, if I make some recipes at home, really gotta, you know, go down into the portions and really make sure I don't eat too much, because it's crazy. Well, Neil, that's cool. 40 pounds over the past year. That's congratulations. It's something that's extremely difficult, you know. It's very, very, very difficult. I always tell everybody, because there's a friend of mine. He's you know, he's like really thin, and he's too thin, and he doesn't like it, and he wants to gain weight. And I always tell him, yeah, you know, you're fine. Don't wish to gain weight. Don't wish you want to gain weight, because it's something that is very, very, very difficult to take off afterwards. You're better off being careful and not gaining weight than having to lose it afterwards. That is the toughest part. Eric Control says, great on losing weight. Do not try to lose it too fast. Lost over 80 pounds and it took a while. Yeah, I'll try not to go too fast. I know that it's not that that great for sure. For sure. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? So Jeff Wiley, I answered your question about the radio. I've got several little portable radios, including my, the Texan PL680, Texan PL600, Grundig Traveler 3, the Calicom GP5 SSB, the DJI 1103, Sangean ATS 505, Radio Shack DS398, and so many more. I got tons and tons of radios here. So, oh, for sure, Eric, losing weight makes you feel much better. Much better. William Helm says, 6, wow, you're 6'7". I mean, you're that tall guy, 260 pounds. When he played football was 312, wow. That's a big guy. That's a really big guy. But, you know, at 6'7", I mean, 260 pounds isn't that much. It's, you know, you're probably a little overweight, but you're not, it's, you know, at 6'7", you're a tall guy, I mean. So, lovely accent. If you're talking of the RAF, yes, absolutely. Ralph Benner says 6100 CRI here too. Let's try that. 6100, sorry. Not hearing anything there, but I am hearing CRI in English on 5960.
Is sought by many heroes looking to build dynasty. You are one of these heroes. Then pay attention. You must first...
I got it from here, dude. You must join us here at the Blue Table as we discuss the latest topics trending in China. Curious? Then come and follow.
5960, China Radio International in English with a really good signal. This is from Albania, transmitter site. So, Chris says, good John, the weight loss back in 2012 was 230 pounds. Once I started working at FedEx and quit drinking sodas, lost a ton of weight. And now it's 175. Now I'm 165. That's good. That's good. Rock Restaurante says 6100 CRI in Arabic. Dax Farr has got a new toy, the Alinco DX8RE. That is a great little radio. Great little radio. And I'm sure you have a lot of fun with that. SWL60N, nice to have you on board. Are you able to hear stations from New York like 77, WABC or WINS 1010? Absolutely. When it's still light outside, but in the evening, my regulars from New York, 880 kilohertz, which is WABC, WCBS, sorry, 770 WABC. I also get 1130 from New York. What other station from New York I get? Anyways, I get the 660 WFAN, the sports one. 1010. It depends on propagation. Sometimes I get WINS, but 90% of the time for me, 1010 will be the CFRB from Toronto that will override the WINS. CFRB, which is the same as the CFRX 6070 kilohertz. But yeah, I easily hear these stations from all over the Northeast. I hear Boston on 1030. I hear a lot, and it goes back a long way. SWL. When I was younger in the 80s and I started listening to the radio, my mom enjoyed big band music, you know, from the 40s and the 50s, and mostly from the 40s. And there was, I think it was 1130 back then that had big band music on all the time. And I remember in the evening, and you know, I kind of enjoyed, you know, I had back then I had a big a tube set. So it made it, you know, for me, it made it even more cool to listen to big band music from the 40s and on an old tube radio. And we would listen to, I'd listen to that with my mom sometimes in the evening. It's kind of cool. So, what else do we have? Oh yeah, he did put a car in his rocket. Absolutely, Chris. He did absolutely send a car out with a mannequin. So, you know. Jerry says, you need to put in, you're disintegrating. Ingmar says, I'm going to come down slowly, guys. I think I'm a little far in the chat. A little far in the chat. We're going to go a little faster here. So, Ingmar says, since short time I owned the Sea Crane Skywave, perfect sensitivity and portability. There was a very nice article from Thomas Witherspoon in the Spectrum Monitor, and they seem to be really, really nice radios. I can tell you that. Ernie Turner says, don't forget, Joe, thumbs up, someone gave him a thumbs down. You know, it's the enemy. I got several enemies. I always get the kind of the regular, like 3 thumbs down or something, 2 or 3 or 4, something like that. But always the same, pretty much the same amount of haters. You know, kind of crazy. 3Hugger, nice to have you here, 3Hugger. Always nice to have you on board. Romania seems to be late on 6170 again. Let's try that, 6170. Here's Radio Romania, 6170.
Is Bianca Andreescu, a Romanian-born Canadian, in the competition's second game. Beko will be up against Zhao on Sunday, while Krista will be playing Andreescu on the same day. Anna Bogdan and Raluca Olaru will play against Katerina Sebov and Gabriela Dabrowski in the doubles contest.
Hey there, Radio Man. Nice to have you on board. Says, got some hams on 18141. Says, got to, he's got some dogs. And nice to have you here. Frigid, hello there. Nice to have you on board. Sorry, I kind of not looked at the IRC chat for a little while. Nice to have all of you here, everyone. Pretty cool. C. Johnson, hello there. Do you have any tube radios? I've got American 5s. I've got a lot of, I've got about 10 old AM medium wave tube receivers. Most of them are, you know, what they call the All-American 5, which is basically the same 5 tubes. So I've got a few of them. I've got a Disman 67, which has shortwave, but needs to have the rewiring of the gears so that the little needle moves, and it's kind of really complex, and I don't have a schematic of how to do it. I would love to have something like a Hallicrafters or you know, something cool. There's this guy here at the there's a flea market that has only old junk really close to where I live, and sometimes I go there and there's a guy that has at least 50 really cool tube receivers of all sorts, including the big, you know, the big wooden ones that are huge. And I mean, the guy's got some great stuff there, and you know, one day I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna bring with, you know, I'm gonna get 150 bucks with me. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna say, hey, I want to have one of your radios, and try to get one for 100 bucks or something. They're all really beautiful, all in good working order. I'd like to have one of those here. It'd be a very, very nice add to my collection, for sure. So, and you know, one of my biggest problems for weight was that for a long time, one of the things I would drink a lot was fruit juices, and you know, natural fruit juices, but still, these contain a lot of sugar, natural sugar from the fruits. And actually, when you drink, you know, if I was thirsty, instead of drinking a glass of water, I was drinking a glass of juice. And the biggest problem was that if you drink 3 or 4 of these, you just intake a lot of calories. And so I've learned to take, you know, like a glass like this and only put about you know, maybe an inch of juice and the rest water. So like that, I you know, have a little flavor in the water, because I've got this really weird problem, and it's that I don't like water. I don't like the taste of water. Now everybody tells me it doesn't taste anything. Yes, it does, especially tap water. And so I have a lot of difficulty drinking water. I usually will do it when it's really hot in the summer because it's like, you know, I really get thirsty, but it has to taste something else. So I just put a little juice in it and I put the rest with water, for example. It gives it a little flavor, and because there's really just a little bit of juice, at least there's not a lot of calories. Brett Wayne says uses his GP5 a lot, but he uses his Mark V with full wave loop for 80 meters when I'm watching your show. Cool. Nicholas, Stanag transmission 4641. Let's see if I can hear that one here. 4641. There's so many of them. Stanag stuff. Yep, for sure. Some Stanag, which is a digital mode, by the way, for those that wonder what that is. It is one of the digital modes. The majority of Stanag transmissions are encrypted, but there's a few things. There's one out of Senegal, I believe, that is not encrypted. I really need to check that out for sure. Okay, Fabrice says 6170 over his radio. And what else do we have? Nicolas says 6170 coming in very clear. And yep, it's always nice to have the anybody that gives a thumbs up. You know, if you can give a thumbs up. Can I receive CKLW during the daytime? What's the frequency of CKLW, David? Can you tell me? Danny Walker. Nice to have you on board. Laissez les bons temps. Gary Golin, some hams on 18145. Yeah, that's one of the amateur bands that I enjoy. The 17 meter band. Anything here right now? Starting to get late here, so not a lot of stuff there. There is some 18100, some FT8 stuff. Let's check out the 20 meter band again, just out of curiosity. So, the VU4 station. I believe it's a VU4 station, which means it's Manitoba. What's Saskatchewan? VU4 is. I'm a little lost here.
This is Victor Echo 4 Golf Victor.
Victor Echo 4 Golf Victor. So, Frigid says he's able to get 9420 in the middle of the night. Cool. So let's check out. So this is a station from Western Canada here, or more like mid-Canada. David Green, on the flip side, been listening. Okay, Tree Hugger says Alan Wiener on WBCQ tonight. Yeah, I'm going to try. It's been a while since I've heard Alan Wiener's Friday night show. I actually enjoy listening to that. I always compare the Alan Wiener show that he does on Friday nights a little bit like my YouTube stuff. Just, you know, flowing, going with the flow, just going ahead and talking about whatever comes to his mind, and talk about radio and stuff. Kind of interesting. David Green says, on the flip side, been listening to CFRX on 6070 here in the Midwest stateside from time to time. Reception varies. Huh. Nicolas CKLW coming in very weak. Vianney Arsenault, bienvenue. Salut. Nice to have all of you here. Really nice to have all of you here. Danny Walker says, just got my first shortwave, Baofeng 5 VR2 Plus. What is an economical option for a decent base station for long range listening? It depends what economical means, but you know what? For a base station, for listening, never overlook the older receivers. You know, like a Yaesu FRG7, or you know, an old Kenwood or an old ICOM, because a lot of these are still very very good, and it's worth it to take a look at those, because, but make sure that it's in good working order. That's the biggest problem. Older receivers, it's easy to get especially if you buy it online, it's really easy to get something that's not, that has problems, or doesn't receive, or so you got to really be careful. But for me, economical would be an older but good tabletop. You know, sometimes you can get those for a decent price. As for something new, one of the cheapest options that seem to work really well, the Alinco DX R8 receiver seems to be a good choice, but it will fetch you $500–600 though. Indicator says, been able to copy the one on 603 out of Calgary some mornings. I've never heard any. I've never heard any the anything west of CFRX Toronto. The ones on the 49 meter band, CFVP or things like that, I've never been able to receive any of those. Aussie Cat, hey there, nice to have you here. Trihaga, the vid for the Grandic satellite is coming in the next few days, I promise. I wanted to do the review of it this week, didn't have time because of my food poisoning on Tuesday, and so I was sick a little bit, and it kind of pushed my schedule a little bit. But I want to do, there will be two things coming with that radio, a full review, and the review is going to be interesting. Anyone that wants to see the review of that old 1969 Grundig, check it out. I am totally blown away and amazed at that technology, that piece of technology that is amazingly cool. But I will also be doing I will compare what is that old Grundig with a new Grundig, and I was thinking, okay, what do I think as a receiver? So what I'll be doing is comparing the Grundig G5 that I've got, which is a much more modern radio, with the old Grundig satellite receiver. So we will compare how they fare once against each other on listening to signals, and I think that's going to be a fun thing to do also. And I'll be posting a few videos of that for sure. You know, comparing an old radio and David Arden. So Nika, CKLW. Oh, it's on 800. On 800 kilohertz, it's impossible here to. It's impossible to receive, because here in Montreal on 800 we have a strong station called CJ80, which is a local medium wave one right here in Montreal. Bobby says 9420 coming in now. Let's try 9420 just to see if it's better than it was earlier. And yeah, there's some music. About S7, S8 right now here. But it's there with some music. I'd say it's maybe a little better than it was earlier when I was barely receiving it. 9420 is Greece. Okay, what else do we have? Son in Illinois Sands says, you're killing us with that grunting review you keep mentioning. I hope it won't. It is long-winded and well worth the wait. Yeah, it will be there. And you will really like it. I can tell you that. I really need that to do it for sure. Okay. Yep. KF7 ELY. Radioactive. What else do we have? Oh yeah, there's other Aussies, Aussie Cat. Absolutely. Crooked Ninja 6170 is S3 in Texas. Okay. Vodka. But I gotta say one thing, MDK2. When I was younger, we went up to the north, and the only water we had was coming from a stream that was coming down from the mountain. I had to say that I never mind drinking. It's as if that, maybe because that really tastes nothing, or I don't know, but that never was a problem for me to drink. And I gotta say also that it was very, very cold. So maybe, you know, maybe water's like beer, you know, it needs to be really cold. But I seem to have a lot of problems with tap water. You know, even though they tell us here in Montreal that the tap water here in Montreal is really good, yeah, you know, I got a lot of problems with that. I can tell you that. Yeah, 800 kilohertz is CJ80 here in Montreal. Southern Illinois, anything on 7200, that frequency, yeah, it's not the nut job amateur frequency, right? There's some activity. Yeah. Some nut job activity. Hey, Philip Jones. Nice to have you here. So, what else do we have? Well, thumbs up at 41. Come on, guys, if you can thumbs up, let's do it. But you know, it doesn't. It's crazy because they always want to give thumbs down, thinking that it actually does something. And the reality on YouTube is that when a video has a certain amount of thumbs up and thumbs down, it does give it popularity. Even the thumbs down give it popularity, gives it even more visibility. And they think it doesn't. They think it's a nuisance. And it's actually, it's not. It's more like a little debate, if you want. And YouTube likes that. YouTube likes the, you know, the videos that are not just, oh, everybody loves you. Actually, YouTube loves even more when there's a lot of people love you and some people hate you. It kind of, I don't know, it pushes you even, you know, more into the popularity stuff. And that's a funny thing, because they think that it's you know, they take the time to do it because they think it probably has a negative impact at some point. It doesn't. It actually is better. So, you know, I don't really care, honestly. But of course, do give me a thumbs up if you wish. It is welcomed. Nicolas says loves the Grundig, badly want a satellite 750 or even an 800. Oh man. Eric Control says, man, oh, Manitoba. Yeah, Manitoba. Hingmar says, nice to hear that Grundig is still famous, not least because I live near the original location of Grundig. Yeah. Unfortunately, what's sad about Grundig is just the fact that today it is a, you know, just a brand name. It's not what Grundig was. I mean, the 1969 Grundig Satellite 210 that I have here is a pure marvel of German engineering. It is so amazing how it's constructed, and for a 1969 radio, amazing. I can tell you that. Larry Marks, is that a realistic Pro 2006? Absolutely. Right here. Right here. It still works with the little scratchy volume, but it still works. And, I don't know if we're going to hear anything. It's scanning frequencies.
Soit qui sont nés en France de parents noirs issus de l'Afrique ou des Antilles, soit qui
sont nés. This is an FM CBC station, but still works well. And I fire it up from time to time and scan the frequencies a little bit. Actually, on the VHF UHF channel, I want to do a series of videos on using old scanners. You know, because I get tons of people saying, well, you know, old scanners, you can throw them away now, there's nothing to listen to anymore, which is far from being the truth. Yes, there's a lot more digital stuff today, but there's still a lot of stuff to listen to, with it, even with an old scanner radio. And I want to try to kind of promote it a little bit, because you know, I hate having people saying, well, I got an old scanner, but apparently there's nothing on. And don't listen to what people say. It's like shortwave, you know. I do get that, oh, well, you know, shortwave's dead. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. So it's coming. That grounding, you guys are gonna love it. I can tell you that. Yeah, some old receivers sometimes have capacitor problems, but this one doesn't. The grounding doesn't. And you know what? To give you guys an idea of how complex that radio was constructed, Fastlow, he is good with electronics, and he's good to, you know, kind of take apart everything and put it back together. He's really good at that. And when he saw that radio, how it was constructed, he wanted to align it, because he thought, you know, it's 48 years old, so it must be, you know, might need some alignment. When he saw it was done, I can tell you one thing: he did not want to touch it. It's just too complicated of a radio. HM01 coming in 8 minutes. Okay, we're going to check that out, see if we can hear it. Marcos Polizzelli, how do you know the XH data, the 808 receiver? In some comparatives I have seen, it works well against the Texan PL880. I've had only positive stuff of that receiver. Actually, so many of them that I was thinking of, maybe I should, you know, get one myself and review it on my channel. Honestly. So, pretty, thanks everybody, by the way, for taking the time to do the thumbs up. Really, really appreciated, and really, really nice. So, Chris says, every time I see HM01 mentioned, I think of a move from Pokemon. HM01 is the Cuban number station. Absolutely. So 10715 apparently. We'll be checking that out for sure. So yeah, here, especially here, look at that, you guys. 800, this is what I have. Here we go.
Could leave some people homeless. And our
Anglos being excluded from a new action plan for seniors.
Oh, this.
For a limited time at the Boy Mountain Sleep Galleries, it's our truckload sale on mattresses.
Look at that.
We always
if the S meter could go past, I think it would just go past the
I guarantee it. Come benefit from the best.
There you go. I'll put the RF gain down. Look at that. Look at the strong medium wave stations we've got here. So that's 800 kilohertz in Montreal. CJ80.
But if ever you need more time, not a worry. Thanks to our comfort guarantee, you can trash your new mattress at home for up to 90 days.
You can trash your old mattress, and why not sleep on the floor? So, well, thanks, Ernie, for promoting the thumbs up campaign. Really nice to have everybody here. No, I'd rather my fans give me a thumbs up. Nick Avendale from Romania, nice to have you here. Always nice to have you here. Watching Olympics games opening. This is why I was late today. Yeah, I want to see that. I haven't seen them. It must be beautiful. I always like that. Hey, cheers, tree hugger, with your Corona. This is a don de Dieu, which is a gift from God. Nicholas says, I told someone I was listening to radio, and he said, huh, have you heard of YouTube? Yeah. Younger generation, typically. Most of the time. Honestly. So, cool, indicate too. Well, 2300, and we'll see if we're still there at 2300. What else do we have? So cheers everybody, of course. What else do we have? Just checking out here. I can't do that, Jerry. You're watching the show with the VR glasses. I can't do that. I get sick immediately with these glasses. Because I have one here, and it was amazing. I was the one I have here is you put your phone in it, and it's pretty cool because you have the VR stuff that you just move around, and it's really cool. One of them is amazing. The guy is doing a bike ride in the streets of New York. And you're on the bike, and you can actually look at everything, in the back and the front, everywhere. It is amazing. But after 5 minutes, I just feel like throwing up. And I get a headache, and I just can't use it anymore for a couple of hours. And that is the biggest problem for me with AR, VR, augmented virtual reality. When you put on glasses, I just get sick. I just can't stand it, which is sad. Nicholas says, I told him about shortwave radio and general telecommunications are. I gave him walkie-talkies as an example. He replied, you could just text. And you know what, Nicolas? You can actually tell him, oh, well, you're using radio. Why? Because, don't forget, when you text, when you look at a YouTube video on this, you are using a radio. This thing is a radio. It is a transceiver. It is sending out what your requests are doing, whatever you want to do. You're receiving via radio waves whatever it's doing. So next time he tells you, well, radio is something, that's in the past, well, you can actually reply back, well, you're using a transceiver. This is a walkie-talkie. When you're talking with another friend on a smartphone, you're kind of using a walkie-talkie. That's a walkie-talkie. It's just that, it is a little better than just, talking to the next door neighbor. You can go around the world, but this is a transceiver. It receives and sends radio signals to do what it does. Gotta not forget that. They are radios. 10715, let's check that out. It's very weak in the noise, but it's there. I just heard the Cuban number lady, for sure. For sure. And so 73 is Mike DX. Always nice to have you on board. What else do we have? What else do we have? Josh Evangelo, nice to have you on board from Chesapeake, Virginia. I always think about you guys when I have a couple of followers that are from Chesapeake, Virginia, or the vicinity, and I always think about you guys every time I hear the Chesapeake, Virginia maritime weather broadcasts. Ernie says 58. Well done. Cool. Cool. Vianney Sano says, in the spirit of the day, I hear CKAC 730. Really good in Gaspésie. Any medium wave station in the Gaspésie area, Vianney? Is there any local Gaspésie AM station? Out of curiosity? Something strong in your vicinity? I'd like to try it out here. Tree Hugger said, what kind of external antenna connection does the 1969 satellite have? Oh God, it has this really weird connector that I have no idea what it is. At all. No idea at all. It's some kind of proprietary German thing. And it's kind of a square. I have no idea what that is. Even Fastload, it says, looks like some kind of weird, you know, connector for whatever. And so I just clip on the antenna for an external antenna on the grounding. This is just crazy. Brian, Iowa, nice to have you here, says, when I was a kid, my grandparents had a huge AM vacuum tube radio made of real wood. Must have been 4 feet tall, 3 feet wide. It was so cool seeing the glowing tubes through the front screen. Oh, it's just magical. I had, and am so sad. I'm so sad. I had a military World War II, which was a transceiver, but the transceiver tubes were missing. So it was just a shortwave radio, which an amazing shortwave radio, and it was magical with the tubes glowing, and there was that little green eye that would like open up or close depending on the strength of the signal. Boy, that was so cool. I remember every time I would turn on that radio, I'd close all the lights and stay in the dark because I just found it so cool to see the glowing tubes. And even with the American 5s I've got here, I gotta say, sometimes I just line them up one next to the other. I turn them all on, and I tune the same station on all of them. And I sometimes shut down the lights because I see the glowing tubes, and I find it just so amazingly cool to look at. Radioactive, yes, it's a transceiver. You'll have to use your call sign using your phone. Oh God. Radioactive says most smartphones have an FM radio chip inside. They're just disabled. Yeah, not everyone. You know, for example, my Galaxy S7 does not have an FM chip in it. And it's not every phone. There's no FM chips in the iPhone, for example. They don't have that also. But there's a lot of phones that do have disabled FM chips. Absolutely. So Bobby says, I would like to tell them that when you use Wi-Fi or data connection, you're using an SDR. You know, I mean your laptop. Hey, you're using your laptop, your tablet on Wi-Fi. You're using a transceiver. You're using a transceiver. Now, the actual thing about FM chips, okay, is that the iPhones do not have an FM chip, okay? Here I talk about something I really know. So, iPhones do not have an FM chip in them. Android phones, some models have some. There are some Samsung models, some LG models that do have an FM chip disabled. I know for a fact that my S7 does not have the FM chip in it. But one of the things that Samsung did say is that in the future, the newer models they're going to make, they want to have an FM chip that will actually work in them. But iPhones never had a FM chip in them. It's really more on the Android side. So Vianney says, no, we don't have AM stations in GSPZ, some FM stations only. Yeah. That would be a really good DX to have an FM station out of GSPZ on the FM band. You know, I would like, one of the things I would really like is go up somewhere far away from the city where there's really almost no FM stations and DX the FM bands, especially when there's you know, some sporadic E-skip or all sorts of like, you know, temperature inversions that sometimes will propagate signals farther away. I like to do that. In Montreal, DXing FM is almost impossible. Every little parcel of the FM band is used by some station of some sort. So it's very, you know, I'm on the big screen. I'm not sure I want to know that. My face on the big screen? Yeah, I'm not sure. Yes, you know what, Vianney? That station in New Carlisle, I remember when I was young, in the 80s, I remember I had a an AM station list, and I remember that New Carlisle station. I believe, if I remember well, it was at the bottom of the band somewhere, like at 540 kilohertz or something. If I'm right, I'm trying to remember, but I think if I'm right, when I was younger, they were on the 500 something kilohertz. And I remember trying to receive that station from New Carlisle in the evening. But it probably was a small, a low power station maybe. So, well, Bobby is just giving out the numbers from the Cuban lady. Jerry says, I love my tube radio. Yeah, it is amazing, the tube radios. So, oh, totally. You know what, Radioactive? I was completely nuts. I was listening to that. We didn't have air conditioning when I was young. In the summertime, when it was like really hot, and here in Montreal, summertime, July, August, we easily have 30 plus Celsius. And in the house, it was really, really hot. And I remember, even though I was like sweating like crazy because it was too hot, turning it on and listening to it all evening in the middle of the living room with, and all it did, honestly, and it really became, it was a big thing. It was a really huge radio. It was like this big and full of knobs. It was amazing. And I remember when you could not even touch the top because it was so hot. And I remember listening to that, and it was like, 35 degrees inside the living room. And I'm sure that thing would just heat up even more the living room. And it was just crazy. Just crazy. Oh, God. What else do we have? Chris Radke, how about Samsung tablets? I don't know of any Samsung tablets that has an FM chip in it, but I know that a lot of the Android phones out there do have an FM chip in it. Some have it enabled, but some have it disabled, which I never understood, honestly. Why do you disable the FM chip if it's there? I mean, you made a phone or a tablet with an FM chip. Why not enable it? I don't get it, why you're not enabling the chip. Daniel Edward, nice to have you here, says, after experiencing my RTL SDR, I find I hardly ever use my older radios around the house. Well, I'll be honest also. I gotta say, Daniel, since I have the Afedri, and now with this new setup also, I mean, I am finding myself using the Afedri SDR much more than my ICOM tabletop. And the reason why is not, I mean, my ICOM has a little edge over the Afedri, obviously. It does work a little better. It does receive better shortwave a little bit. But the waterfall is what is the most amazing feature, because, I mean, I just tune a frequency, and now you've got all the signals there. And what's even more amazing is sometimes there are signals that you're wondering, oh, what is that? Or you see something popping up, like here, for example. Look at that. What's that? I'm going to go there. I'm just going to, see if we hear something. So I saw that there was something there. I'm going to go there and see if I can hear a signal. So this is digital. So this is a digital mode going on right now, and I believe it's an aeronautical digital signal. So here you go. So there's something that appeared over there. I'm going to go over there and click and say, okay, what's there? So there's some people talking. There's something in the language I don't know. 5678.9 upper sideband. I don't know what that language is, but there's something on 5678.9 upper sideband. So I just gave you a practical idea of why I like the SDR. I saw a little something in the display, and I clicked on it, and I tuned it. And I would not, you know, with the ICOM, I would have had to go through the frequency range, but it's worse than that. When they're talking, so that means you gotta have the chance or the luck of tuning the ICOM at the time they are talking in order to tune it. So, you know, like for example here, let's go and check out, oops, 5.678.9 upper sideband. So now I got it here. But in order to have it here, I would have had to tune, and you know, if I passed through the frequency while they were not talking, I would not have known it were there. Here is because when they talk on and off, it puts out a little something in the waterfall. Huh? That's on the icon. So, you know. So I don't know what that language is, but 5678.9 upper sideband, some people are talking. Could be fishermen, it could be, you know, I don't know. And that's also the mystery of shortwave, you know, all these signals, you have no idea where they are from and what they are. And, you know, that's why I am fond of the SDR, because look, you know, you see spurts of signals right here. So you're attracted, because in the display you're like, hey, there's something there, I want to see what that is. You have a visual of what's happening outside. I've got 600 kilohertz there that I can see. I have to say, that is really a very, very strong positive point of any software-defined radios. You know? So, Mr. Blackpool, glowing tubes, can you recommend a specific model? You know what? There's Alec Crafters. Alec Crafters makes a lot of great radios. But there's a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of really cool stuff. Daniel Edwards says, I also have such high output medium wave stations around me, especially 770 WABC New York. I had to buy a filter which removes everything below 2.2. Yeah, when you're close to strong medium waves, absolutely. So Bobby says 9420 super strong right now. Cool. Tree Hugger says Hammerlong HQ 116. Robert Babcock, nice to have you here. W0RAB in Connecticut. Pretty cool. Yeah, the Samsung S8 and Note 8 don't have an FM chip, unfortunately. Brett Wayne says 5678.9 is S3 in Western New York. And exactly, Jim S has the perfect phrase for what I just described: visual audio. You have the visual of the audio of the signal, or the not just the audio, the RF, everything. It's great. It's amazing for that. David Green says, I heard a ship to shore one morning on my SDR and it was pretty fascinating. When you come across communications of unusual communications, it's always intriguing and fascinating. You know, I always go back to when I was at the D expedition at Peary Island. I stumbled across 17950 around there. There's a aeronautical frequency for the Caribbean region. I stumbled by chance on a transmission from a plane where there was a passenger. He was having a heart attack on board the plane, and they had patched the communications with a doctor on the ground that was giving instructions on what to check, what to do as the plane was in the air. And you're in the middle of this action. You're in the middle of, okay, there's something happening. You know, there's something happening everywhere around the world right now. You know, there's people right now that are in dire situations. And sometimes, because of radio, you're in that situation. And now you're in that situation. And, you know, it makes you feel... I remember I felt... it made me appreciate the moment, because I was listening to what was clearly an emergency, wondering if that person will survive or not, and thinking, you know what, you're in a beautiful sunny day in the summer in the middle of a park with your radios, which is, okay, let's face it, for any of us, something that is really close to heaven. It's like being in heaven. And at the same time, somebody somewhere is having a life-threatening situation. It makes you appreciate that also, you know. And radio is cool for that. I mean, all of that coming together through the radio waves. And it's part of what makes me really love my hobby, honestly. So, you know, it's kind of cool. Danny, Shortwave Radio DX. Nice to have you here, my friend. Oh man, I still have cat air in the nose. Radioactive says 5673 CHN Jiangsu Vomit. Closest thing listed on the IBS space. Yeah, no, this is not a vomit. This is honestly some kind of communication. I'm trying to you know, have a guess at what language that could be, but it resembles so many things. I don't know, honestly. Honestly. 9420 is 10 over S9, says Brett Wayne. Josh Evangelos says 9020. 9420 usually has the same broadcast as 9935. Yeah, absolutely. Gary Golin, take care. See you. Good night. See you tomorrow. 2000 hours UTC. We are back tomorrow. For anybody that wondering, yes, we will be back tomorrow. And Cherry DX says 5678.9 USB is S5. Anybody can ID what language that is on 5678.9? I'm not really sure exactly what language that could be. Casper Peterson, nice to have you on board, my friend. Radioactive says S4 noise floor on 5678.9 but no voice. Aha. So I don't know. So while we are talking about this, just a little reminder that you can actually help out on my shows. PayPal.me/shortwave, or you go on PayPal and you send your donation to that Yahoo email you see here. Basically, remember that today and tomorrow I will be taking in donations. I saw a few coming in through the show, and I want to thank you very much for that. And I will split 50% of that donation and send it to Glenn Hauser for his excellent work at with doing the World of Radio show. I mean, he's been in the hobby a long time. I personally love the World of Radio show. It's an amazing piece of of you know, radio news. He commits pretty much his life to shortwave, and so I will be splitting half of the donations with Glenn Hauser. So thank you very much for helping me out, and I mean, without your donations I would not have been here. Through the last year, 2017 has been very hard on the monetization. Thanks to better monetization and a lot more views, it's better for me this year. It's starting off really nice. To give you guys an idea, just from December to right now, I have an increase of about 35 to 40% in views, and that's coupled with the fact that monetization for January is better than the one that was a year ago. You know, I'm kind of breathing a little more, and of course, doesn't mean to stop donations. I am thinking of ideas of transferring these donations into different things. If it's not to help me, it could be to purchase, you know, new equipment. It could be to purchase new radios and review them, and it could be basically, you know, to buy airtime and do some shortwave show over WRMI or something. So thanks everybody for your donations, and don't forget, today and tomorrow donations, half of it is going to Glenn Hauser, World of Radio. I think he deserves it. And like I said earlier, you know, I kind of you know, use his DX Listening Digest Yahoo group to advertise a little bit of my shows, and I think I owe Glenn Hauser a little something, and a little thank you. Not just a thank you, but a thank you and helping him out also. I think, you know, what I want to do with this radio channel, and that's part of why I advertise and help some of you with your channels that is radio related, is we're all radio fans. We're all here together to enjoy something that is just so cool, that is the shortwave and the radio hobby in general. And you know, I want to be not the hog that just takes everything. I want to be the guy that can share whatever he can. So if I can help you out get more popular on your radio channel, I'll do it without any hesitation. It's not a competition here. We each have something cool, you know. One guy that I see his videos regularly and does some live stuff, Tom Styles of Hamrad 88 channel, you know, great channel, and you know, it's not a competition. I don't feel like I'm in a competition with anybody. I feel like at the other side, I, you know, can help out and try to you know, if I can make you more popular, cool. If I can help you out in any way like this, and you know, just enjoy the radio hobby, why not do it? That's what I want to do anyways, and I want to share the fun. We're all here to have fun. We're all here to enjoy one simple thing, the radio hobby. That's all I want. I feel like a radio preacher. Yes, all hail to your radio. So it's time to touch your radios, guys. So let's touch a real radio. No SDRs, no cheating. Touch a real radio and be happy. Oh God. So you are in the Shortwave Radio Church, and you are watching the Shortwave Radio Show. We're live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We're listening to the radio. We found this transmission on 5678.9 upper sideband. We talk about radio and we just have a lot of fun with radio. So I hope you guys are enjoying the hobby and enjoying the show. What else do we have? What else do we have? Man. What else do we have? Richard Cook says, not getting any time stations tonight apart from CHU on 7850. That's interesting, you're receiving CHU on 7850. Let me just check 7850. Nothing here. The only frequency I would hear it probably is 3330. There we go. CHU time signal. Apart from that, am I hearing WWV? Let's try 5. Nope. 10. WWV's there on, it's a little weak, but it's there on 10 megahertz. Very weak on 15. Pretty much the only frequencies, but WWV is very, very difficult right now. Jerry, if I win the Lotto Max tonight, I'll give you a nice donation. I hope so. Vianney Arsenault, oh, from New Brunswick, Campbellton City, 950 kilohertz. Huh, that's interesting. 950 kilohertz. What is on 950 right now here? That's a difficult one because I have on 940 a very strong station. So maybe an upper sideband. It's almost impossible. 940 is so strong, it's almost impossible. So hey you guys, for anyone who was asking earlier, here's WCBS from New York.
Monday was horrible, Tuesday was great, and it's hard to characterize the final 3 days. Today the Dow was down by 500 at one point, rallied back, finishing up by 330 points at the close, 24,190. Joining us now, Bloomberg reporter Elena Papina. Interesting week, huh?
Hey, Casey Red Dragon.
It is, and a lot of really wild swings in the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. Traders are trying to figure out what's going on and whether it's, buying opportunity or whether more selling is going to come next week.
What is driving this volatility, this craziness of opening up 350, going down 500, and going up 300? What is driving that?
Well, in the first place, there was the economic data that came better than expected. And now,
In this market,
There's Bloomberg 1130 from New York also.
Washington's pretty confident that over the next month or two, and it's hard to say what's today or tomorrow, but over the next little while, that most of these losses will be recouped.
As for where to invest, Darryl Plonk is cheap.
So talking about the stock market drop. Nice to have all of you here. Okay, Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you on board. Jerry says, more popular than Jill? No way. Vianney says, radio preacher? Huh, Jill the preacher. Yeah, instead of Brother Stair, I'll be Brother Jill. Let's now all kneel down in front of our shortwave radios and say, dear shortwave God, please give us propagation for the next few days. Oh God. Jerry says you just got a shock from touching your radio. Yeah, that might happen, especially in the wintertime with static electricity. The other day I was petting Paul the cat, and I was touching, I think it was my laptop. I was touching my laptop computer, and my main laptop is brushed metal. And I just got one hell of a static shock from my laptop. It was crazy. David in Barcelona, nice to have you on board, and I have some really sad news for you, David, and I will explain the full story. So, David was sad to see my old CRT screen go away, and I gotta say I was a little sad because, even though, yeah, it's an old screen, it was still working, and I put it on the floor. It stayed there for 4 days. And I was thinking, okay, what I do? I keep it, I don't keep it, I keep it, I don't keep it. What I do with my screen still works. And I was like, yeah, it's old technology, it's kind of cool, but it's like, I got no space here. And I finally put it outside, and somebody with a truck picked it up 2 hours later. And so I do not have an old CRT screen anymore, David. I hope you're not too sad, but it's finally gone. Radioactive says, well, this is odd. I got S9's noise floor, S9 noise on S7850. Wow. Josh Evangelo, do we or don't we want the Oceanic Storm info on WWV? Let's take a poll. Yeah, because they are asking. They want to remove the Oceanic Storm info. Personally, I don't really see why, because I don't listen. I never listened to that. You know, I stumbled on the Oceanic Storm info by accident because I'm listening at that minute or those 2-3 minutes that they do it. But honestly, that was more for, you know, maritime purpose. So technically it was, you know, boats. Do boats still need that type of info? I'm not sure, but they want to remove it. They are asking for input. Do they remove it or not? Absolutely. Tom Zhu says 3330F is 59 plus 10 here in Michigan. S9 plus 10, sorry. In Michigan. Cool. And nice to have you here, by the way. Richard's receiving 3330 CHU. Cool. Casey Red Dragon 706 SSTV. I don't think so. I don't think so. No SSTV at such a low frequency range. Just checking out if I hear anything, but apart from the FT8 stuff, not receiving much. But usually 7060 is not an SSTV frequency on the 40 meter band. KC Red Dragon. Chris Freitas says, speaking of cults, I have been listening to a podcast called Last Podcast on the Left. Despite the foul language, they have been doing a good series on Jim Jones and Jonestown. Yeah, man. There's a lot of things to listen to on the podcast side. When you look at you know, the different podcasts available on in the internet, it's crazy everything that you can find there. Rich Hill, nice to have you here. Thank you for the nice comment of a great channel. Chris Freitas says Brother Stare would be a great topic for their show. Yeah. You know, it's a little bit like I was listening David Arden's talking about foul language. You know, I do drop an F word sometimes, and you know, I'm sorry, but you know, it will happen from time to time. When somebody annoys me too much, sometimes it happens, and I try not to use it too much, you know. But it's listening to Alan Wiener on WBCQ, and I mean, I can understand totally, because when I listen to Alan Wiener on WBCQ, one of the things that annoys me in part is the fact that there's a lot of F words. There's a lot of you know, burps and farts and stuff like that, and I'm like, really? And I have to say, I listen to Alan Wiener and I like his show on the Friday evening when I can receive it, because it doesn't come in all the time. I gotta say it's true that it kind of lowers the standard of the show. You know, I'm a guy that in everyday life, and I mean here in Quebec, we are a swearing community. There's a lot here. We use the church words as our main swearing in French, and I mean there's a lot of it going on. And I've always been in my life the kind of guy that doesn't like the swearing. I always find it kind of, you know, low grade. And I've always been somebody that doesn't really swear much. If I do, it's because I was, trying to nail something and the hammer just hit one of my fingers. Okay, I probably will have a few swear words. But basically, it's what's interesting in here is that I listen to Alan Wiener, and I do find that it lowers the standard of a show when somebody either uses bad language or farts or whatever, burps or something like that. I mean, intentionally. It could be you're doing something. It could be something that happens. I'm drinking beer. I might burp, not on purpose, because I talk and suddenly it's just there and it happens, and I'll excuse myself because I do not like that kind of low grade thing. But I try to do my best to keep the level of my language at a reasonable level, because I understand, and it's not just that some people are more sensitive than others on that. It's also, I think it's also something that as a guy that talks to the world on YouTube with live shows, why not? I think it's a good. It's good to keep the level of quality at a certain level. Why not? What else do we have? Ernie Turner says more sense out of Brogel and his cat. David Arden says, speaking of foul language, how about duck, chicken, or goose? David in Barcelona says, no, although there's a bit of hope. Who knows? Maybe it's happily working in the home of whoever picked it up. I want to think that it hasn't left us, but that it's living another life instead. You know what? The guy picked it up and was very careful. And I forgot to tell you one thing, David. I did put a sticker on it and says, still works. Okay? So, let's hope that the guy saw the sticker, still works, picked it up, and I did see him pick it up. And he was careful, and he put it in his truck carefully, and I thought, okay, he's going to use it. He needs a screen, he's going to use it. So, you know what? Maybe I did a good deed, and maybe somebody that couldn't afford buying a screen has got my Panasonic screen working right now, and he's really happy. And if he's happy, I'm happy, because at least the screen is still working. David Arden says, good thing I don't know French swear words. I picked up a couple of bad words when I lived in Germany. That was enough. We always pick up the bad words. Anybody that learns a new language, we always learn the bad words first. It's crazy. Rich Hill says, good content info will trump poor language choices. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're getting close to 70 likes. Radioactive says, CW on 7111. Danny Shortwave says, I was thinking of posting some blooper videos of me cursing when something went wrong. Well, that's a different thing, Danny. Blooper videos of you cursing because things are not working, that's a different thing. And that's not what we're talking about here. Because that could be funny. I mean, I've seen some cursing videos because something didn't work that were kind of funny. Not just for cursing to curse, but because honestly something was really bad and anyways. But that's not a different type of video. It's not like what I was talking about. Richard says 31 meters, very busy. You know what, Richard? It just shows just a little bump in the solar flux. And look at how much more activity there's on the bands just because the solar activity is a little higher. It just gives us a little more support on the shortwave bands. And you know, don't forget, we are in February. We're getting close. We're a month away from, you know, the equinox. And February, March, traditionally are really good months for shortwave propagation. So let's just, you know, cross our fingers. Richard, Chris Freitas says, used to not curse much, but that changed in a heartbeat when I got into the broadcast career. Stuff does hit a fan, and it is hard not to spew something. You know, where I started cursing in French was when I started my second job. The second job I ever had in my life, I was working with 4 other French language Québécois. And they were heavy on the swear words, so I started swearing more after that. It's not a good thing. Danny Shortwave says, shooting a video in the backyard and neighbor's dog barking non-stop. Oh my god. Yeah, well, you know, it reminds me of what you're saying here. It reminds me totally of when I did the live show at the CIDX barbecue in Griffin Park. We were a little, we were not sure, because when I started the live show, the next door kids started playing and screaming. Plus Sheldon has his dog that was sometimes barking. Plus a lot of things that that was being noisy around, and we were like, everybody was like looking at each other like, oh man, is it gonna be too noisy to the live show, man? Richard Cook's receiving RWM on 9996. You know what? I'm gonna try 9996. I don't think I'm gonna hear that. Let's put in CW. But let's try 4996 and see if I can hear something. Nothing on 4996. Let's try the buzzer 4625. No buzzer. Look at that Kodar here. The chirp of the Kodar. For those that wonder what that is, that's Kodar. Kodar is a type of radar that is actually checking the height of the ocean waves. So 4 megahertz, there's some in 12 megahertz, 13 megahertz. So a little chirp, 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 regular chirp, very wide band. That is Kodar, and it's there to check out the ocean waves. So, you know, talking earlier about SDRs and the fascinating waterfall, there was a signal that appeared there temporarily, and of course it picks up my curiosity. There's something happening there, so of course I clicked, and I'm waiting because there are going to be some other communications. It's going to be interesting to look at. But I love SDRs for that. I got to say, I'm pretty, you know, a lot of hooked on the Fedri SDR. Gene Paradis, nice to have you here. Says, now I have the best station possible with a big loop antenna, MFJ 1886. Wow, this pulls in stations when I get on medium wave. It is hard to leave it. DX is great. You know, I love it because that also means what you know, when your listening post gets better and suddenly you're happy with DXing. It's really cool. David in Barcelona says, yay, if that's the case, then great. Yeah, Jal, maybe you made that guy's day. Good to know that very possibly CRD show still going on. You know what? Here there are two things happening to screens. Lately, everybody that throws away a good old TV or a computer screen, they get smashed, and the guys, they steal all the metals and the copper wire around the tube. because they make money off of that. So when I put the screen out, I did put, oh, okay, that's what's there, 4721. So I put it's working because I thought if somebody needs a screen, and you know, I understand it's a big clunky old screen, but if you need a screen, it's better than not having a screen. And the first thing I thought is, okay, you know, some guy's gonna come by, gonna smash the plastic, get all the copper out and the metals that he can take, and gone it is. But no, it stayed intact. And the only thing I was scared is they were announcing there was gonna snow. So I was like, okay, if it starts snowing and the screen starts getting snow on it, okay, it's no good anymore. But no, a couple hours later, guy comes by and takes it, and you know, is really careful about it. I actually threw away many things. I threw away 2 printers, a fan, a big fan. I threw away the screen. It's in the spirit of making my new office a more pleasurable place for me, because I'll be here all the time now doing videos. And one of the things that I needed to do was to get a place that I feel like I want to work in. Lately, in the past, in 2017, you know, I was making videos, but I wasn't kind of happy with the setup. I wasn't happy doing the videos where I was doing them. And one of the things that is for me in 2018 is, okay man, this is your job. You want to live from this, you've got to do something right. And one of the things that is just throw away all the crap that you don't need and make your office a cool place that you want to feel welcome in, that you want to be in, to do the videos. And that's why all of this is changing like that. And I've started doing it, and it's something that it's a continued work in progress. Right now I'm in the state of what am I going to throw away, and then how I'm going to set up different things. Because what I'd like to do is, I have a setup here, but I want to have a setup on the other office there on my computer table. I want to have different setups. That's not always the same look, depending on what I do. I want this place to be a great place for creating videos, creating live shows. Because if I decide that this is my life, it's got to be something that I like to do, and it's got to be a place I want to be in. Bye, PLF Radio. Take care. See you tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC, for the live show. Philip Jones says video keeps buffering. Anybody else? Anybody has buffering on the video? Here everything is green, so it should be okay. I don't know. What else do we have? Somebody in what looks like Russian or something, but I have no idea what you're saying. David says, yep, Kodar on 4 megahertz. If I remember correctly, I think I can get one around 4600. Yep, 4600 is one, 4800. There's one around 13,500. Robert Babcock, this is a AFEDRI SDR, AFEDRI, software-defined radio. And it's a long wave, medium wave, short wave up to 30 megahertz SDR, around $200. It's an amazing piece of equipment. And the way it's set up right now is through my home network. So the SDR is plugged in through a Ethernet cable in my router. My desktop computer here that's behind the screen has a 5 gigahertz wireless adapter, which gives us enough speed to actually work very, very well with the SDR. So you see here, there's a signal. I'm going to go here and see what's that. Oh, that's another. It's another type of digital mode, basically. AIL, yeah, AIL. I was actually trying to figure out what was that communication, and Radioactive says AIL. Yeah, AIL, exactly. That's AIL. Can you decode AIL? I mean, I know that if I look at, I guess it must be encrypted, maybe. If I look at multi-PSK, is there AIL in here? I hate this interface. I never find anything. Is there AIL in here? I don't know. PogSag, cell call. I don't know. I can't find AIL. I don't know if that's in there. Anybody knows if AIL is there? AIL. Is there AIL in here? Oh, there's AIL 400. Could that be AIL 400? Should I stay on those frequencies and see if I can maybe decode something with that AIL 400 thing? I don't know. Kind of interesting. I never decoded AIL. Hey, MDK2. Welcome back. KC Red Dragon says 7089 digital signal. Yeah, around 7070 and 7100. There's a lot of digital modes in there. Immature modes. A lot of it for sure. What is there in here? So yeah, doesn't buffer. Seems to be good for everybody. So it's probably you know, sometimes it's in the internet service providers end that's happening, but here it's been seems to be very, very stable since I've started. It's been a long time since I have some really bad buffering issues. It seems that lately, I don't know if it's the work they did or anything, but it seems YouTube Live is much more reliable than it was a year ago when I had a lot of buffering issues and a lot of problems. It really seems better. So Richard says propagation yesterday was very good. Today it's not so good. Bobby says 7780 strong. Let me try it again, but I'm really I'm sad I can't get it. Well, nothing really there. There's a very weak signal for me. I miss 11580 finally. Edreader the Extra says Google Chrome, best browser for live streams for me. Every other browser has buffering issues. Kind of wondering, eh? Google Chrome and YouTube being a Google, you know, company. Wonder why all of that works well together. Tom Zoo says ARQN transmission on 4986. What's on 4986 here? All I hear is radio teletype on 4985, 84. Radio teletype. So kind of interesting. What else do we have? Oh, Chris Peters, hello there. Black Hat Systems AIL decode for Apple. Huh. I wonder if they're... Yeah, multi-PSK. Yeah, that's what I found. AIL 400. I wonder if there's an AIL decoder for Android. Let's check it out here. AIL decoder for Android. AIL decoder for Android. Android AIL decode. AILE decoder. Let's see here. Anything in here? Nope. What is that? Cargo decoder. Nope. Cipher decoder, solver, nope. Doesn't seem that on Android there's anything for AL anyways. What's the signal in 7073? Likely is 7074, I would guess, and it's probably FT8. Oh, but there is something on 7073, is right. Look at that. What is that? What is that? Let's check out a little bit here. So something here. Wow, what is that? Anybody can ID what's on 7073? There must be a way to decode that. There really must be some decoding. This is on amateur band. It's not Tor. What could that be? Because there's definitely something in there that is very interesting. I don't know if anybody can ID what that could be. No, I don't think FT8 was a wider signal. FT8 is on 7074. That's something else. Kind of interesting in here. MDK2 says that's a weird one on 7073. Yeah, I've never heard that before. I have FT8 on 7074, but 7073 is an interesting one. Very short burst too. Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. It's interesting. There's just an ID in Morse code. Wow, I need to. That's an interesting digital mode. Hey, Radio Tirana, thanks Bobby for remind. I always forget about this transmission. Radio Tirana, Albania, via WRMI is on 5850 right now.
We move on to another top story. Albanian President Meta has reacted through the media to the statements of Greek counterpart Mykonos, who considers it nonsensical to bring up some issue for discussion at the time when Albania seeks European perspective. President Meta says his attitudes do not bring positive energy. According to the head of the Albanian state, these statements are not in line with the recent messages and practice engagement of foreign ministers Rusati and Kotia to release new positive energies as regards the relations between the two countries, treating with attractiveness the obstacles of the past. The specter of cooperation between the two countries is versatile and of great
5850 kilohertz. Yeah, Casey Red Dragon, I'll do that in a few minutes. We'll tune around. Actually, we'll tune around. I'm going to tune from starting here. I'm going to go up slowly and see what we can hear and ID in the signals. Tong Zhu says 7073 is the AMS Express WinLink radio email. Really? Can you decode that with something? Is there a software you can use, Tom? Do you know? Interesting. That's kind of interesting. No, packet is different. Packet is kind of more shorter, brief bursts That one was kind of different than Packet. Radioactive says WRMI is listenable, but not loud, but listenable on 5850. Richard Cook in the UK's got a carrier with nothing coming in on 5850. So let's check out. What do we have? Up to 935, which I believe is WWCR. Voice of Turkey in English, 5960 kilohertz.
Mattis was referring to Turkey's plan to launch a military operation in Raqqa, a strategically important city west of the Euphrates in northern Syria, as part of Operation Olive Branch. Mattis underlined that there has been no...
Wow, close to 80 likes. Pretty cool. Let's like. Thumbs up, guys. Oh yeah, 80 reach. Cool.
Obviously, there's a lot of concerns there because of what we heard of Ankara.
There's DRM signal on 5980.
And today's online only.
China Radio International via Cuba relay on 5990. China Radio from Cuba on 5990.
Compounding losses on the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500, which started last week. The Dow Jones plunged more than 1,000 points, or 4.6%. The S&P 500 dropped just about 100 points, or 4.75%.
Let's move this a little bit on the side, so we're on 5990. What else? Something here.
We are now down.
WWCR on 6115 kilohertz. WWCR, Nashville, Tennessee, USA.
30 a.m. this morning when it was on the rise. But how about Russian collusion? Man, there sure is a lot of it, isn't there? Except it's not.
Tom Zhu, it really did sound like that. Really, two-way communications, bursts of everybody, each station answering. Kind of interesting.
Is texting with Russian oligarchs in effort to.
This is China Radio International via Albania in Spanish, 6175 kilohertz.
En la misma ocasión, Yang Jiechi pidió apoyo internacional para las relaciones intercoreanas y para seguir reduciendo las tensiones en la península de Corea. China está siempre comprometida con la desnuclearización de la península coreana y con el mantenimiento de su paz y estabilidad, subrayó Yang, quien enfatizó que las cuestiones relacionadas con la península deben solucionarse.
Hey Cosmic Lettuce, take care. Always nice to have you on board. Tomorrow another show, 2000 hours UT.
Suma cero entre China y Estados Unidos, dijo él.
I got the signals here. Not a lot of stuff happening. Okay. No pirate activity from what I see. Of course we have the the 40-meter ham band or any signals. I didn't get his call sign. 7158.5 lower sideband. Oscar Kilo 1. What is that? Czech Republic? It's an Oscar Kilo 1 station. I think it's Czech Republic, right? No, Olivia is different. Olivia is different. I've heard and decoded Olivia in the past. Yes, Voice of Greece, my friend, is on 9420 kilohertz. 9420. So I think it's Czech Republic. OK1. OK1CF, Oscar Kilo 1, Canada, Florida. Thank you, David Green. Yeah, I thought it was. I thought I remembered OK was Czech Republic. I'm not a ham radio operator and I actually know the call signs. Like that, Czech Republic on 7158.5, amateur radio station. Romanian English on 7220. Can I see it here? And there's a signal right here. And here's 7210, but not 7220. Michael R. West, nice to have you here. No, still no ham ticket. I really need to. I really need to get my my ham ticket. I really would need to, for sure. Thanasis, nice to have you here. And 9420, Voice of Greece was coming in earlier. We can try it out if you want. 9420. And it's rather weak right now, but 9420 Greece is still there. Still making it on 9420 with some music. So, kind of interesting. Oh, absolutely, Michael. You know, I went to the Industry Canada website and they have the online exam that sends you 100 questions. And I actually had, the last time I went on the website to see, I had a score of 85%. Which is like, okay, you're a ham radio operator, man. So I really need to take the time to do so. Rich Hill says, I'm a general class ham and you know a heck of a lot more than I do about a radio. You know, it's what I was telling Fastload that when I listen to the 2-meter band on a VHF, and I listen to amateur radio operators start talking about a hobby, I suddenly realized that, man, they don't know a lot. They really don't know a lot. And that's where I was like, okay, as a shortwave listener, I do realize I know a lot more than a lot of amateur radio operators, actually. And plus the fact that, you know, I already have electronics knowledge. I went to, you know, I got a diploma at a electronics school here. So, you know, it's just a question of, you know, stop thinking about it and do it. And get your ham license. Absolutely. Oh, man. So Radioactive has the Kyoto News Agency weather facts on 969.1. I'll try it, but I don't think I want to hear that. 970. Let's see if I hear anything there. Yep, nothing here. Nothing at all. Really nothing at all right now. Take care, Ralph Bender. Always nice to have you on board. Tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC, is another show. Joey D says, I have a stick antenna on the side of my house. Can I alligator clip the antenna wire to another external antenna wire, then hook it up to my radio? Sure. Try it out. Try it out. You got nothing to lose anyway. And you might see some improvements. Honestly. Richard says, Romania on 9620, a bit stronger than 7220. 9620. Anything here? Nope. The band is starting to quiet down here. We could see that darkness is taking its toll on the propagation on the higher frequencies. You know, propagation is actually good in low frequencies tonight. If I look at the RAF, you know, that's a little bit of my beacon, and that's something I wanted to talk. Somebody asked me the other day, do you have a way of checking out propagation and understanding if it's good or not? Well, I have what I call my standard beacons. That's stations that are there that I know that, depending on the strength of the signal, gives me an idea of what propagation might be like on that frequency range. The RAF vomit on 5450 is an example. When it is this strong and is able to actually go into the red above the S9 level, I know that 5 megahertz propagation to Europe, for example, is actually really good. And tonight it's amazingly good. And there are times when it's actually even more stronger, but it's pretty amazing. MDK2 says, starting to get into the windy season here. I have to keep my antenna tied to a support post around the clock. Here, the biggest part of antenna problems is ice storms in the winter. We had a couple. We had one that was quite good about a month ago, but lately, not too bad. Bobby says, wonder when these opening ceremonies tonight in Canada. I think it's kind of like in an hour or something. I really need to check out what the schedule, but I think it's like at 7 or 7:30 p.m. here that one of the local stations is showing the opening ceremonies. I'd like to, I want to see that for sure. So, hey everyone, I want to say thank you all for being here. I will be signing off for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Remember, donations, if you wish to help me out. And remember that tonight and tomorrow's donations, 50% I will send to Glenn Hauser for his excellent work at World of Radio. So, you know, you're not just helping me, you're helping out Glenn Hauser. Of course, if you want to help out Glenn Hauser directly, you know, you can do so. But thanks for everybody that donated during the show. Much appreciated. And we'll be back here tomorrow, 2000 hours UTC. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will be back with a lot of fun tomorrow. And you know what? I only drank 2 beers, so I'll have 4 tomorrow. I'll be even more drunk. How can we watch the opening ceremonies with you? Yeah, I'll put them live on this screen and we'll watch it together. Better yet, we'll go on the 50-inch screen. It's even bigger. So, take care, everybody. Always nice to have you on board. And thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks for being great fans. You know, I wouldn't be doing this if you guys weren't there to support it and to help me out and to just, you know, have fun with me. 73s, Thanks, everybody. Stay safe, and see you all tomorrow, 2000 hours Universal Time. Take care. I will go now make a little bit of pasta with rosé sauce and watch the opening ceremonies. Take care, all. Love you. Stay safe.